All right, and we are live. The last word, LordCognito, Ebontis, Ty Guy, Travis, fresh on that Lightfall Thursday campfire. Lots of stuff to talk about, impressions, ViDocs, things. Let's start with the cheetah first. E, how we doing, sir?
Been busy. I've been finishing a desk that is behind me. So
He's
I got
always building something, right, Travis? He like he's on the ladder.
Yeah.
He's
Oh
constructing.
no, the
this.
ladder
What you
didn't go
doing?
too well last time, but that's totally
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, I was lucky. No, I got this
He's,
desk.
he's like 10 years away from building ships in a bottle. You know what I mean? Like that's where he's headed.
No,
Like I see a home improvement channel coming. Like, I feel that energy. Go ahead.
yeah, somebody even asked me, "Hey, did you like record your progress?" I was like, "No, I took a couple of pictures. This is not a YouTube home improvement channel. I'm sorry." I took a couple of pictures. No, like I got this desk. It's like 55-inch, and it's no complaints. Like it was a free desk to review. I'm like not gonna argue. But my plan was eventually to get a wider one because both of my monitors hang off either end.
Oh, damn.
Because I got a triple monitor setup, so it's like they're
Right.
hanging over. It's not enough. So eventually, I know I wanted to upgrade, and I finally found like it's a butcher block, like a countertop. So it's a big thick piece of hardwood. But it's like 72 by 36, so it's a little deeper than a desk, so it's extra there. But it was like $250 for the piece of wood, and I'm going, and it was local, so I could go pick it up. So I literally rented a truck, got it back here. It sat in my garage because we had crap weather for like 2.5 weeks, and then finally I got it sanded, stained, and sealed, and everything. And then I got it's fully standing desk company. They're fully Jarvis frame. Got it mounted to it. Got everything set up, and at this point, it's just sitting behind me. So now I got to move the entire rig onto it, which is going to be my process later. But that finally came together over the last couple days. And then in between that, just been dabbling a little bit in Destiny, kind of maintenance there. I've been playing Hogwarts in the living room a little bit. That game is a ton of fun. Like anybody, if you are a Hogwarts fan, and I'm sure you've heard it, it's just a lot of fun. So if you want that world, yeah, I was like when you see places, I was
I'm
like,
sure you thank Travis every time you play it. Make sure we thank Travis bled so we could have fun.
Indeed.
Just make sure you.
I was like, yeah, shout out
to held the cross for us.
Shout out to Travis for putting in the work. But honestly, like when you read Travis, like Travis's review was very fair, and when I read it, it's just like there's not much. If you want to jump into the Hogwarts world, this is the way to do it. And there's so many things that people give the game crap for that Travis was so well to state, and there's things you bump into, and you're just going, it's awesome. And I'm literally like one quest away from getting my broom, so it's about to open up.
Quick question, E. Were you a Potter fan before, or
okay?
So you're totally
So I mean, I knew like I was like I listened to Maddie talk about it a little bit on yours. I know he's not so much in the world, so it's like it didn't quite turn him.
But he still liked it. He said it's a good.
He said he enjoyed it. Yeah, he enjoyed it. It's a good game.
Yeah, you strike me as a Hufflepuff.
I can't.
See, that would be a good question. What house is everyone in?
Yeah, what house are you?
I want to know what house you're in.
I chose Gryffindor when I did.
Chose Gryffindor.
Well, okay, when I did the questionnaire, I was Ravenclaw. So. But I will say, when I was going through the questionnaire, though, there was one thing, and it's like when you click on it, it'll have a little voice dialogue, and it's like, oh, you like to kind of go out and explore on your own. Whatever I saw that said that as a solo player, I was like, that's me. Like, So when I actually saw that line for Gryffindor, I was like, done. Like, I know it felt a little cliche, and then I heard the line, I was like, that's actually me. So I did, but the the 2-question questionnaire was Ravenclaw, at least in game. But I chose Gryffindor after that. What about the rest of you guys? Do you have a house? Are you?
I haven't played it yet, but I'm curious. Mano, did you start it yet?
I have not played it. I didn't have any plans to. Like, life for me is busy enough as it is. I can barely keep up with Destiny and making content. Like, I'm not even making as much content as I used to. I'm hoping I can change that in the next couple of months. Okay. But in my heart, I want to believe that I'm a Gryffindor, but with my brain, I'm probably a Slytherin. Like, I could be. I can be pretty cunning, but I want to believe that I'm a Gryffindor and heroic and all that other stuff. But I mean, like, who doesn't want to believe that, right?
Yeah. You like go out on adventures, and I was like, yeah, it kind of.
I feel like. Yeah, something like that.
Travis, where did you land for your house? You had to be Slytherin. I feel like it just fits you too well.
Yes,
it was easily Slytherin. It was not even. It was not even.
Not even close.
The hat touched my head, and he was like, "Are you a snake?" I was like, "Yeah, that's me."
You're just like,
yeah. I love that there's 4 I would love to be in the room where they decided to make Gryffindor, like or not the Gryffindor, the Hogwarts. Like the founders were sitting around and somebody was like, "Hey, you know how there's 4 types of children? Brave, smart, evil, and miscellaneous." And the other person was like,
"What's miscellaneous? Is that Hufflepuff?"
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then the other guy was like,
everyone else goes in that other bag.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally have the name Puff in your
It's the name that do kill me.
like Ravenclaw, you're like, all right, cool.
Okay.
Like Gryffindor, and it's like a lion, and then Slytherin's a snake, and then Hufflepuff, and I'm going.
Yeah, I don't know.
Real talk though. Real talk. The changes in the game that you actually get from being houses, because I had to do this for the review, are not terribly significant, but in the ways that they are, Hufflepuff is probably, maybe arguably the best, because
like that house common area kind of thing.
Yeah, the common area for Gryffindor, it just straight up looks like a frat house. It's like the most boring one.
Yeah, it is pretty standard.
Yeah, Ravenclaw is like, the snitch's house. It's like everyone there is just like they wet their bed until they were 15. Like,
oh my god.
It's so boring. Like, it's just like everything's organized. They have bunk beds, hell of efficient. It's for like just nerds.
Why that's the snitch's house though? I'm still trying to get that
cracking up.
It's that they look like, the prefects that are like the hall monitors. It's like a dorm full of RAs. That's what it reminds me of. Their dorm. The Slytherin one is the coolest because it's underwater and it looks dark and evil and the snakes everywhere.
Nice.
But then the Hufflepuff one is just straight up Hobbit. Like, it's straight up like there's food everywhere and pets, and every picture, instead of being like a famous person, it's just like an animal, and like there's snacks everywhere and cupcakes. It just straight up looks like the Shire. And so my fiance played through. Yeah, my fiance played through the beginning multiple times because she wanted to pick the house that was right for her. And as soon as she saw Hufflepuff, she was like, I don't even mess with these people, but they have the coolest dorm. And then they also have the coolest intro mission. Because some of the intro missions are like, and their intro mission, they send you to Azkaban and you see Dementors and stuff, and none of that's in the game.
Yeah, have not touched that yet.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Really?
not in the game unless you choose Hufflepuff. So
Wow.
I will say, Hufflepuff, y'all are weak as F, but you have a cool they did you right in the game.
Okay. Making up for what you might be lackluster, and you're like, yeah, well, you get the coolest quests. So that's been fun. I rolled credits, I think I said, on Rogue Legacy 2, and then I've downloaded Wild Hearts, and it's kind of staring at me if I want to dabble in that a little bit. But yeah, it's just like the window is closing and nothing is getting played because I'm still trying to like do this and cover like the 14 things we've had this week. So it's been crazy busy. Travis, what have you been up to besides trying to keep up with all your world and sleeping 3 hours a day?
Yeah. So I do have a bit of cool news. I got tapped to produce IGN First for March. So
Congrats.
I am.
That's awesome.
I'm headed out of town next week to spend the entire week with the developer in question. I'm going to record and capture and interview a month's worth of content with said developer.
What city would it be? What state?
I will not mention that, but it is. I'm going somewhere to play a game, and then I'm going to create a month of content for it. It's a huge honor, and I'm really excited. And it's a game that I personally am super excited for. And I think maybe some other people in this who watch the show will also care about this game. So
yeah, it should be one I'm very curious to hear about.
Oh yeah,
interesting.
So,
yep.
Yeah, so I've been doing that, and then I'm just preparing for my next review, which is Destiny 2 Lightfall. So we'll talk about it when we get to the show, but I've I got to see it and do some fun stuff with Lightfall, and I'm getting ready to write about it and play it with all of y'all for 2 weeks. So it's an exciting time.
Nice.
Senior Cog.
Yeah, not as busy as Trev, but look, I mean, finished Hi-Fi Rush, which was phenomenal. I really enjoyed that game. That was like
How
you could tell
long did that take you?
11-ish, 12-ish hours, possibly. But what's cool is there's actually a lot of new game plus type energy to get additional story context. The game is an absolute blast. Like, it is hilarious. You can tell the inspirations the music. There's some scenes in it where the game does not take itself seriously at all, but it's just absolutely hilarious. And I never thought I'd really like a rhythm game like that. But the key for me is that they don't penalize you. It's more of a bonus to doing more greater things if you land and do things on the beat and stuff like that.
Speaking of rhythm games, this is when we got to call on our guest, but we'll get to him in a second. So
yeah, we get to it. Oh, hold on, we gonna get to it. But shout out to Tango, they were phenomenal, and I'll give you guys a little bonus. We had an interview with John Johannes, the director from Hi-Fi Rush, and that will be coming to you guys very soon, hopefully by this weekend, and really break down the inspirations. Because remember, Tango's really a horror studio.
Yeah, no, it was out of left field for them.
Yeah, and his story is amazing. Like he went there to as a language teacher to teach English. He went to Japan as a language teacher, and then ended up just getting a job without having really prior experience in the industry. He's awesome. So go check that out. That'll be coming there soon. And just trying to get I got all my borders and stuff done for Destiny. Played a little bit of Age of Empires. Is on Game Pass. Just try that out. Very well done port. And getting ready for Lightfall. But we got a patient guest who is returned. So enough of me rambling.
Real quick, shout out to Necromancer with the $10 super chat.
Yes.
That final message we got from Blank, which we'll get into the story this week, sounds like Clovis knew a lot more than he was letting on. We lost Blank, but we still have Clovis. Clovis needs a season. We'll maybe come back to that and circle around. I know Travis would be excited about that idea because he's still there. So we'll see if he gets one.
Season of the Zaddy, more like.
Oh my god. I don't even think. Yeah, that would be hilarious though. Anyway. Welcome to The Last Word, episode number 237. Oh man, this week has been quite a ride. State of Play, interactive trailer, ViDoc all came out this week as the Lightfall information continues the flow. And we're also starting to see so many other games releasing very soon. Wild Hearts, Atomic Heart, Octopath 2, much less Lightfall. To celebrate and discuss all of this Lightfall news, we are joined again by a legend in the community. 101 episodes ago, this amazing gentleman joined us, but I've known him as a content creator for much longer. As an early gamer like many of us, even though his dad may regret starting his boys on the path, they seem to have turned out all right. He did have an odd fondness for blue protagonists, though, so we'll have to check on that here in a second. If you haven't used one of his guides to get through a dungeon or an exotic quest, caught one of his streams, or know him from his musical talents, you really are missing out on adding this gem of an individual to your life. So let's welcome the co-record holder for 0 hour clears, raid, and even more impressively, lighthouse visitor via drum set controls, band teacher by day and unconventional golfer by night, freezing his butt off up in Viking country, the one and only ManoDestra. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. That was quite an intro. Who helped you write it? Seriously.
Solo show on
so
those.
It's all E, huh?
Yeah.
He's a beast, man. He's a beast.
That was quite an intro. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. It's great to talk to you guys, especially like on a week like this where we have so much to talk about, which is great.
Couldn't have timed it better because I think next week, I think they blew their load
They're
this
done.
week per se.
Yeah.
Next week is light.
Fed the dogs.
It's that joke.
I'm so glad I can hear Cog laugh again. Honestly, this show was really needing.
Yeah, the laughs are back. It's good. Somebody did you tweak any audio settings or anything recently?
Nothing. I literally did nothing, bro.
Because that most of the time never made it through.
Yeah, it is. I've been having to imagine your laughs in my head for like a year. It's been
Did you change your noise gate or something, or just
I've done nothing. Windows just decides to be Windows. I didn't do anything.
Fair enough.
I mean, that's fair, but
that's why now I'm scared to go to 11. There's another reason. I'll laugh. It'll go away as soon as I go to 11.
Sure.
Well, man, what's up, brother? How you been?
Doing well. So I've been ridiculously busy. I have not been gaming nearly as much as it sounds like you guys have. I've been taking care of some personal things, some family things. I've talked a little bit about it, but also kind of like on a weight loss journey right now. So I haven't talked about that really, but like I've been like the last month or so been like hitting the gym hard. Getting back on like on a diet that was on, but gaming wise, did God of War, loved God of War. It was great. That's what I've been up to. God of War is amazing. God of War Ragnarok. But other than that, just maintenance mode and trying to get stuff together for Lightfall, and helps whenever I can. But no, things are going good. I was sad that my Vikings did not make it into the playoffs.
Hey, 49ers didn't either, so it's.
I was not surprised. So
Well,
We'll see
I was
what
going to
happens.
say the 49ers didn't even get a game in their last one. That was just a mess. That was so sad.
They had an
That was
ad.
sad.
They put an ad in the paper for a new QB at any point. Like, please, we need
Please.
someone.
I mean, when they were talking about Christian McCaffrey in like around halftime of who, I was like, oh, it's not even a game anymore. It wasn't. So it's just sad. So.
You played 2 games, right? Post or preseason.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
Got 2 in before. That's what's up. Salute to the Vikes, no doubt. So yeah, man, a lot of stuff going on in this game. You know, what's
A little
happening?
bit, just smidge, just a little bit. Before we go, I wanted a little clarification on the intro.
Yes.
The blue protagonists. What drew you, and is blue your favorite color? Because you are wearing a blue shirt tonight, so I've got to know: is that a thing that is stuck over?
For me,
Yes, you. Yeah.
all right. Because here's the deal. Some of my favorite video game characters have always been blue.
Talk to
Sonic the Hedgehog, Mega Man.
Yeah.
Like I tell people, if they're not good at platforming in Destiny, take 5 minutes, go play a Sonic game. I guarantee you'll get better at platforming, and you get better at handling like faster like controls and stuff like that. All the Mega Mans back on NES, like Mega Man X, love them. They're just great games, classics, just amazing. I happen to like blue. I don't blue and purples and some reds. I'm not an orange guy though, so like I don't know. It's just orange isn't my fave, but
That's fair.
Do you like
all good.
characters who are blue emotionally?
no.
Are you awoken?
I have a female awoken warlock now. I deleted that warlock for charity. Because I had a masculine warlock, and I don't think any of the stuff, like any of the warlock gear, looks good on masculine warlocks. Like I just feel like the feminine frame for the warlock is way better, and I think it just kind of flows better, right?
Yeah.
So
The gown works better. I get you.
yeah. And I mean, if they're gonna give us trench coats, she can look great in that too. Like she can go out and ball. It's all good. Yeah. But no, nothing like that. Mega Man, Sonic, some of my favorite games. Like I like Mario and I'll play Mario, but
top 2 Mega Man.
top 2. Just Mega Man or Mega Man X?
Just
the franchise.
Just the word Mega Man. Whatever you want to put after that.
Battle Network.
Mega Man 3 because you get the bosses. Mega Man 3. Well, it's the best one by far.
And X.
And then just Mega Man X1.
Yes.
Good.
See?
Yo.
I knew I liked you.
Yeah, we're homies.
Yeah.
Like it's the best.
Seriously, 3 is like the reason I
you
was
got
like
2.
Exactly.
You got to because you play them at the end. You play all the bosses from the end, and the music is you've got twice the music. It's great.
So, Dr. Wily's
this hype since Chrono Trigger talk. This is amazing. Continue.
I mean, I spent way too much time in my stupid little room playing Mega Man 3, and when you're playing it on 8-bit Nintendo, you die twice, you start the whole level over, so you get really good at those little jumping puzzles and everything.
Yep.
And yeah, you played
great
2, and then 3. Like there's like I think it's the Mega Man 2 soundtrack though, but it's the Dr. Wily theme.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
like that's like
Mecha Dragon.
Yeah.
It's the Mecha Dragon level where there's like the dragon that's moving and you have to like jump on the blocks. There, I mean, you want to talk about platforming. Anyone who's not good at platforming in Destiny, literally go get to the end of Mega Man 2 and you have to jump on platforms, shoot at the same time. Like it will help you, like legitimately will help you with your platforming in like a 3D
I wouldn't
space.
call Mega Man a good training ground for platforming though. That's sort of the end game content.
Yeah, it's like that's like the Dark Souls of platforming. That's like the Dark Souls of platforming.
Yeah,
yes.
good.
I don't know. Maybe start with Celeste or Ori and the Blind Forest. I feel
Fair.
like
those are
Fair.
like those are easier,
Those are more
but
modern.
those are modern. But I was like, they're modern, but they're challenging too.
They are challenging.
yeah, but they also teach you the game. Mega
Yes,
Man
that's true.
famously does not teach you how
No,
to play
not.
it. You just
Here
have
you
to
go.
learn
Good
it.
luck.
Yeah.
How did you ever play Kid Icarus here? Did anyone play that?
Yes.
That's a baller game.
On
that
like
game
Boy?
will
Is
kick
that
you in
what I'm thinking of?
No, it was the
Yes.
NES. It was
Original Nintendo.
ridiculously
I don't remember
hard.
which one I played. Yeah, I feel like I played something on Game Boy, but yeah.
I was
I played all
that was
those
tricky too.
games.
Yep.
We were raised in a crucible of fire. The Lion King game,
Yep.
dude.
Oh, the Aladdin game. I
Lion
beat
King.
the Aladdin game. I remember that one.
Ooh, the Aladdin
I
game.
beat the Lion King game. I think that was the first game that made me cry
Oh, wow.
out of frustration. You know, I was like 5 or
I knew
something.
that was coming. That's not a finished
Yeah.
sentence from Travis.
And
But yeah.
interestingly, I had never seen the movie, So all of my understanding of Lion King until I was like
so
30
wild, right, man? Isn't that wild?
I saw the movie when I was 30 years old. So I grew up really poor. I just didn't have
Wait, you didn't see the Lion King or Aladdin?
either. No Disney movies. I didn't see any of that.
Wild. When he told me
like-
that, Mano, the
Yeah,
same face you had.
this
when
is
he
the first time in
told
the
me that
podcast,
story-
like Mino actually looks at the camera. He's like, "Whoa, hold on, I gotta look."
So-
Like I
so
actually have
all
to
of-
like
all of-
physically like, what are you doing?
all of my knowledge of what happens in Lion King came from beating the levels. I was like, and then when I saw the movie when I was 30, I was like, oh, so this is what that level where he's on giraffes has to do.
I mean, you could just also read Hamlet and you know what happens too. But
That's
like,
exactly it. When I saw it, I was like, oh, so this is Hamlet. I know how this is going to end. I've seen that.
except that Simba doesn't kill himself. So
It's best that
There's
they
that.
don't. They try not to
Well,
do the
I haven't seen Lion
do
King
that in
2.
the Disney.
We don't know.
Mhm,
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm.
But
All
you've
right.
seen them now. You've seen them now.
Yeah,
I've
Yes,
seen-
he's caught up.
2 or 3 Disney movies.
2 or 3.
Okay.
Not too many, just a couple.
No doubt, no doubt.
I saw the live action Aladdin. I have not seen the animated version.
Oh wait,
so
what?
Whoa.
Oh no,
No.
you have to see the animated Aladdin.
We need to have a Discord. Like
I
a
know,
Discord.
Robert
Yeah.
Williams and stuff. I know. I just,
Like,
You're not
I was like,
living
actually,
right.
I will say the live action Aladdin was better than I expected it to be. I had low expectations, but like, you don't top Robin Williams. You just don't, and I'm sorry,
No.
but yeah, that was too damn good. So
No, he's too good.
yeah. Also, I reviewed the Disney Dreamlight Valley game for IGN.
Oh,
you are not the right one to have reviewed that game.
Wait, hold on.
No, maybe he's the perfect one.
Maybe
Because
that's true.
He's
No
outside of it. He doesn't have any reference.
He doesn't have any reference.
Also,
Sorry.
a lot of the stuff is like I saw Disney when I was an adult, when I had free will. I was able to see it. So I've seen like Pixar and I've seen Frozen. I've seen a lot
Okay,
of that
okay,
stuff.
all right.
So I knew all that, and then also I had a consultant with me, my fiance, who has seen every Disney movie ever, and so she was there to fill in the blanks. So
You should ask her when she was growing up, did she have all the VHS tapes and like the plastic, like the white, like just ask her and be like, did you have them back on VHS back in the day, or was she like a DVD gal? Just ask her, because like we had the old, like we still I think have them downstairs, like the old VHS, like classic Disney. But you can't play them anymore. You got to have a VCR to play. And what do you do?
VHS, like a VCR costs more than a 4K Blu-ray player now. It's sad.
Are you serious?
Yup.
Is that
Yes,
crazy?
if you go
Is
look
that
one up. I don't know why somebody
Wow.
was like, hey, there's like one, if you ever want to play it, go look one up. And somebody's like, can you find one? I'm like, you may as well just not.
Wow,
It's
I didn't
not
know it was
worth-
like that.
Yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
VHSs are stupid. So that was a fun little tangent out of the way. We got a lot of information about Destiny this week, like way too much. It started Monday morning, like 9 o'clock in the morning. They're like, here's 5,300 words, because Joe Blackburn felt like tweeting a post-it note that was not zoomed in on over the week on Sunday, and for whatever reason, you got to like enhance the image with blurry text and be like 5,300 words in the morning. Okay, so the main things that they want to do in Lightfall and the year beyond, even before I dive into this, when you got done reading the State of Destiny, that's what we'll call this thing, Lightfall and the year beyond, where did you guys land? Just like, where is your expectation now going into the year? What does Lightfall look like to you? Where are you at now with this next 12 months, maybe plus Final Shapes pending launch? Where are you at after reading just that, if you can kind of separate this stuff? Mano, where did you land just after reading it all?
I'm cautiously optimistic, as I would be with anything with that Destiny. Witch Queen was the best, for me, was the best expansion in Destiny. Period.
Preach.
There's
You're in-
nothing that is,
Preach.
yeah.
You're in
there
good
is
company.
nothing that is better. My problem has been the seasonal content that has come after it has not been at the same level. Like, when you have those really varied levels, like where you have something that's just absolutely stellar, like you have the Lion King 1, and then you have the sequel, which isn't nearly as good, or the Lion King 1 and 3/4 or whatever.
Oh my
Like
God.
they're just, I know I was not trying to bring any fire or anything, but when you have them at such different levels, that's the problem to me. I'm hoping that with the seasonal content, because a lot of this stuff I want to say was developed during COVID. So I want to give them some grace. I want to say, you know what? They weren't necessarily working together. And I know that some people are still working at home, And I still feel like Joe was making a transition, wasn't he? Like, didn't that change happen where Joe Blackburn became the game director? Like, I feel like some people were still getting like their feet on solid ground in those positions.
It sounds timing wise, especially because what if you think Witch Queen? It was probably started being developed in, because if it was season 16, it's probably being developed in season like 13. It probably goes about a year and a half the way their cycles go, at least back. So that sounds like Blackburn would have been coming in trying to arrange things. That makes some sense. Yeah.
So just if you want this, like my quick, because there's like the 4 big things, right?
Yeah.
I love the fact that they want to change up the seasonal content and they want to mix it up. They should, because formulas are boring. And while there's something to be said for having rituals and routines, there's something like, I don't want to sit down and be like, I'm going to sit down and do my checklist. I can do that when I'm cleaning my house. Like when I sit down, I want to do something new and exciting and different. And so for me, that's if they're going to do that and they're going to pursue that, great. I'm cautiously optimistic. I want to see what they do with it. For me personally, because I love the exotic missions, I think that it's been such a shame. And this is one of the things that I tweeted out, is that they take their best content and they literally vault it. Like they literally take the best missions and they like Harbinger, Whispers, 0 Hour. And I've said this in my streams too. Like all of this content is some of the best content in the game. I would like to see them put appropriate rewards with that. I feel like if you do that exotic playlist, which I think is coming in season 22.
Yeah.
So if you do that, like I think you should just guaranteed exotic. No one's going to do it for a Pinnacle. Like it's going to like no one's going to do it for a Pinnacle. It's kind of like the preservation missions now in Witch Queen. Like you'll do it maybe the first week or two. But if you give people like, I will guarantee you an exotic if you clear this mission, because it's like a 15 to 30 minute engagement for some people, right?
Yeah.
It can be longer, especially if there's no timer. If you do that, you're good. I am disappointed in what they're doing with PvP, rather the lack of things that they're doing for PvP, but I don't know. And again, I'm not a PvP main. I play the whole game. I don't know what they can do other than just making a great sandbox. That's like all I think they can do. Like I almost feel like they need a brand new mode, like Trials of the Nine, and it's new and they have all new weapons and stuff like that. Because like comp doesn't really do it for most people. So I feel where the PvPers are coming from, and I'm just kind of like going through it real quick and just like saying where did I land on it. I think that refreshing the strikes is great. I think they should vault Nessus. I said this earlier, vault Nessus and just bring failsafe, put her in an exo, bring her down, have her hang out with 801. And it'll be like Wednesday Addams and Enid. And they'll just hang out and chill. And I think if you do that, that'd be great. But I'm again cautiously optimistic. I want to say I want to give them the room to do it, but I have a feeling that this is going to be a really good expansion, a really great expansion. It's the seasonal content that I am reserving judgment for, because that could be good or bad.
Travis, what about you? You got to read it in depth.
Yeah, so my experience was a little different than most people's because I did not read it on Monday. I went to a preview event to see Lightfall early last week, or maybe the week before, and then the day after, somebody from Bungie's PR team reached out to me and said, "Hey, thanks for attending. I just wanted to give you an early look at this message from Joe Blackburn because I think it might inform your impressions or coverage of Lightfall." And so what was weird is it felt to me like hey, you just saw Lightfall, but don't worry, here's all the stuff we're going to fix. And it kind of came on the heels of like their preview event in a way that made me feel like they were hedging their bets or going, hey, we know what you just saw has some issues and here's what our plan is going forward. So it was kind of weird. Also, I saw a different version than the one that came out. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they changed stuff from the message that they sent to everybody. Yeah. They took out, I mean, I have the original one, like we can go through it line by line, but yeah, they changed some stuff in that message as well, which I guess is a good thing. It means, they're keeping things they're
Fluid.
keeping things fluid and willing to change with feedback or whatever. But the stuff that they changed, I think you can somebody else I saw was tweeting about it online, but if you control F and like find the stuff that is in the version that we got versus the public version, there's some interesting stuff that they changed. So yeah, the messaging around this is very odd because it almost seems like it's a message to their most committed players going, hey, look, we know that Destiny's gotten a little stale, and we're just trying to like get ahead of that almost. And they tried to get ahead of it with people like me in the industry who do reviews, which I think is a kind of an interesting strategy, because I think that they maybe, this is just me speculating, I have no quote here from Bungie, but my thinking is maybe that the feedback that they got from the event was a bit underwhelming from the preview event, and so they followed up with that swiftly before people in the media went to print with it, and said like, hey, here's just some stuff that we think you should know before you publish. And so yeah, it was interesting messaging for me. That's not to say that I think that anything in that blog was bad. I think it's cool that they're talking about it. I think it's great. Really the headline to me was getting away from the kind of stagnated season system. I mean, they're still going to be doing seasons, but they want to change it and make it a little bit less predictable, which I think is great. But it is interesting messaging, and it came on the heels of what I would describe as well, I'll save it. I'll save my impressions for what I thought of Lightfall, because I've seen a bit of it and I can talk about it now. But yeah, this message was an interesting kind of thing for me. But I think it's all good stuff. I'm glad they're talking about this stuff, and I'm glad they're sharing it with people.
I'll go with you, man. It's a lot to read. What happens when you digest all that? How's it pass through?
It's a lot. The vibe I've gotten consistently prior to this post and now after this post has been a foundational revamp. Foundationally, they want to change a lot of the core ritual stuff. A lot of things that players are frustrated with as far as investment. And, the things that kind of stood out for me, obviously the exotic mission rotator, that was something that's really cool. Obviously the strike changes, things of that nature, that's really cool. What surprised me was kind of like, I don't want to call it like a retraction, but almost like an admission of the crafting system that didn't maybe land the way they thought it would.
That's going to be a different animal by the time Lightfall gets here.
It's going to be it's literally rolling back almost more than 75% of the changes, and we're getting rid of the currencies. And one of my major beefs, they actually kind of like addressed, which was like, when we talk about crafting and we've talked about enhanced perks, and we're like, why now would I do an adept anything, right? Because it's like the crafted version is superior, right? And I'm seeing them kind of address that now. We got to get these new versions where it's like, what is it, like you get adapted, you can get like even random rolls.
Yeah, you can enhance a random and make them basically equivalent. Yeah.
Right. So you see all this stuff, and I'm just like, okay, now we are really fixing the core foundation. I have to admit, though, I still was not happy with the PvP talk still. I still...
The no Gambit talk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. I forgot about Gambit.
Zero words of
Control F. No Gambit.
I did the same thing. I was like, Control F,
yeah.
0.
Yeah. I forgot all about. Yeah. So to me, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. You're good.
No, it was just more so like, look, we're going to fix connections. We're going to fix the foundation, the things. And the thing that most excited me was, like, I guess, like the commendation stuff, fire team stuff. But again, that's not going to be ready for next season. I mean, this season is going to be, after that. So I'm looking at it as a core overhaul. Like that's how I'm looking at this. And it's probably for the greater good. But it was interesting to me that still at this stage, I don't know for what reason, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, that PvP is still where PvP is. And my concern is it ever going to be prioritized? Is it ever going to have the level?
Tassie actually had a pretty good article this week just to kind of poke at it.
What do you say?
We'll have him on the 9th, right before the raid, actually. So save your comments for him. Then that'll be a fun show. But I mean, it just basically goes into the logical nature of it. You've got seasons, you've got expansions, you've got skins, you've got a lot of little things that generate revenue. And if they put money into Gambit, or if they put money into PvP with maps, they don't generate revenue. They put value into those, which is a good thing for us, but they don't make revenue. And we'll get to something on the TWAB much later when we talk about revenue, which I was honestly surprised to see, but we'll get to that.
Last point, you nailed it, because not to bring in Defining Duke on this, but literally someone wrote in, it's like, hey, are we seeing like a trend in most of these games where it's like you're not seeing new maps or whatever? And a lot of it, I think, is just
Did
part of
something
the
happen
live
with Call
service.
of Duty? Like they weren't getting that many
Yeah,
maps or
not doing map
something?
packs anymore. You're starting to
Yeah.
see the shift away from that. And I think it's a business and it's a financial shift because in the age of the live service, the battle royale, it's really about the monetization model, the clothes, the this. It's not about the maps anymore. And now it makes sense. And I think that's the shift that we're seeing because of all updates, when it's the State of Destiny update, when you get that Luke Smith, now Blackburn, this was the time, okay, you gonna talk to me now. Like we go, oh, we're doing a new mode called, whatever control, countdown rush and check. Okay, but what about the maps and the other stuff? And that's what I felt like, okay, there's a shift. There is a shift that's happening. But that's literally what I have. I'm curious, E, where you're at because there's a lot. And sorry, Manna, you did want to say some things before you were jumping in. You muted, Manna. Oh, you good now?
Trying to make it to the finish line with this content.
Yes.
Like that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, they're just gonna let Gambit and PvP where they're at. They're just gonna kind of roll. I don't know how everyone else feels, but I feel like they're just waiting and they're gonna like save stuff until they can either monetize it, like you were saying, Cog, or whatever they're going to do, they're going to build it into the next system and they're going to put everything into whatever is because they keep teasing it's not the end. This is just the start and all that other stuff. 10 years, but I mean, we're just starting. Yikes. I mean, okay, sure. But anyway, E, what do you think?
E, where you at?
Yeah, I'm in a whole bunch of all of what you guys are saying. There's a lot of things that I read in here that seem like good things. Systems we've talked about. We've got loadouts, combinations and ranks are fine. For somebody I mean, they're fine. They're okay. A newer player has a little bit more of a path. For us veteran players, we're gonna like check the boxes and be halfway done when you log in. So it's like those are fine. Loadouts I'm very excited about. We'll get to all that stuff. The crafting changes, as you guys said, it's like when you think about where the rumor of crafting of having like, I don't know, 50 different currencies, literally going down to 0 of those currencies actually surviving by the time they get done getting rid of these last couple of alloys. It's kind of it is interesting to see the process that they've gone through with crafting. That one got launched, but they knew they had to commit to it because of what was created. Sunsetting was launched and then reversed hardcore because of the feedback, but the reason they have origin traits and other things and stuff like that is Sunsetting should have actually lived on. Just so you actually have some freshness and things. Again, we've said that before. But it's, again, PvP, it's like you read through and, you get to that point and it's like, it's a small, they say the fiery crucible. I'm like, you're going to have some fiery crucible players when they read this thing, but that's, I mean, when the fact that trials is like one little blip of a sentence, we're looking at rewards and matchmaking structures for trials and comp. You're going to know why you gained and lost points. They didn't even mention like cosmetics for comp. They didn't say that those were coming. They didn't mention that's one of the things that people are like, what do you want in comp? I want to rank. And if I get high, give me a cosmetic. Cause I know you're not probably going to give me an exotic gun or something like that, but give me cosmetics. And that's not even a time window. There's not like, hey, we've got artists working on them. There's going to be something rankings, like wait till, season the deep and then we'll get in there. It's like, okay, the exotic mission rotator. It's like, yeah, we get 3 of the missions. I love Presage and Seraph Shield will be back. I'm still missing the 2 that I want to see the most. So it's like, Zero and Whisper. It's like for the both of us on here, it's like, you can't ask the 2 that we want. You're like, we're getting, go ahead.
I was wondering because I talked with my chat about this. When they did Beyond Light, and tell me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure they did like a system or an engine refresh. So if you think about the stuff that's in there, I'm giving them some leeway because they said that they have room for it to come back. Because if Whisper and Zero Hour come back, cool, awesome. I would like to see it. Seraph Shield is great mission too, but I think that they have to rebuild some of the they have the assets, but they have to rebuild it in the new engine. So I'm not willing to throw them under the bus.
I get that because I think it was
the legendary reprisal of how they brought Taken King and Vault back. Maybe they would have to do that from an asset standpoint for those particular missions. Okay,
and I think it was like a lighting engine with Europa, if I remember correctly. So you're exactly. So there's and that's why some of these take a little while. So it's like I get some of that too. Again, same thing. It's like those are post Beyond Light. I mean, they talk about strikes getting a little bit more difficulty standardization and battlegrounds coming into Nightfalls and all these little pieces. And as I go through and I'm going, okay, and then you got the Find a Fire team that got pushed to 23. There's
Yeah, I was a little disappointed on that we didn't have that for Lightfall. Sorry. I really wanted that for
I
Lightfall.
told you it was not going to be Lightfall. I literally
know.
sat there and
No,
told you it was like
I'm giving you-
22.
Why you got to go into dad mode? I know that already. I'm just saying that it really disappoints that aspect of not being part of the package after you told me that.
I know. But yeah, it's like when I look through it, it's like I'm gonna have fun. I think chat has been saying the same thing that I'm probably about to say as well. Campaign, I'm looking forward to it because I figure the 8 missions, the way the narrative has been handling things, I do feel that somewhere in here we're gonna have a twist and turn that happen. For those of us who haven't played it, at least.
Yeah, so that's uneducated.
But I mean, it's like I don't think this is gonna have the Witch Queen Cliff moment. I don't know if they can hit that high again because it's Callus, and while we saw him today looking all sorts of fly and blinged out and glow up, but like the twist I see would be happening would be something related to the Witness with this trailer because the Witness seems much more involved, which I am excited about because that's huge. So that was exciting to see. Like 3 days before that, when I was reading through this feels like, and Travis said it before, and he was justified in saying it, it feels in betweenish. Somebody has transitioning in betweenish. It's like it's there. Rise of Iron. It's the thing before the big the finale. It's like this is the Act 2 not quite ready for the big Act 3 climax thing, and
it's Empire. It's Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, it is.
We're gonna end like that, and there's gonna be a Millennium Falcon going off in the distance, and we're gonna be like, dude, when's the next thing coming?
1 year. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the other piece of a lot of the bullet points they go through. This is going to happen in season 21. This is going to happen in season 22. This is going to happen now in season 23. The power level system is something we do want to look at, but that's going to be in final shape. Like,
yes,
there's a lot of things that are like gears are churning. It's just the timeline is 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. A lot of it's away. There's a good amount of Lightfall when I go through my bullet list and make my video over it, but there's also some decent features that are farther. So it's like that's the reason why it's like I think the campaign will be enjoyable, but the year is going to be a year of change and testing. And as they say, they want to crisp things up before final shape. That is their big push. Like if Lightfall had some marketing, final shape is going to have more marketing. Because that is how they finish the saga. Now, granted, I still wonder what the hell happens in season 25, and I'll ask you that later, Mano, because it's just like, okay, so giant climactic Light and Dark Saga expansion. Now, what happens like 3 months later in that next season when you...
Do you have like a postlude or a post log or something like that?
And 3 epilogue seasons before you get the next like number and you finally leave a PS4 behind. I looked the PS4 up today because the PS4 is 10 years old and I was like, oh my God, it is.
Wow. See, I'm increasingly starting to think that the final shape isn't going to be the end of the Light and Darkness saga. It's going to be the beginning of the final year of the Light Darkness saga, and it'll officially end when they release the expansion after.
Really?
It's going to happen.
Interesting.
I don't think the story is going to end in Lightfall because if you look at almost never wrap up. Yeah, sorry, the final shape. If you look at their history, they almost never actually wrap up the story that year, or not that year. That with that expansion, they use it as a kicking off point for the next year of activities.
Yeah,
they sort of wrap up that year at the end of the 4th season. So I feel like that's what's going to happen, and then the final shape will not really have to be an ending on its own. It'll be the beginning.
That whole storytelling year is like hurting my brain when I think about it, because if it's like the end of the saga, but as you said, it's not really the end of the saga, but the game moves on, but this is the end of the 10 years and there's 3 seasons in between. I just want to understand more. That's really all at that point. So it's like there are things in here that are good. I like a lot, like literally most everything I read through outside of PvP not getting an all love, pretty much everything I read through, I'm like, these generally seem like all positive things. Some are 3, 6, 9 months away, but they're generally all positive things, and we can probably work through some of them. So we have Season of Defiance. So that is going to be like the cover art for Season of Defiance, by the way, looks like a movie poster, because you got Marasov with like the side profile. You got the Guardians up in front, the pyramids in the background on EDZ. We figured out actually today from the ViDoc, it's going to be taking part on the EDZ. A little bit of Crow and Amanda Holiday and Mithrax and saving people. It's like, who's your weekly savior of the week kind of thing.
It
Should I just
reminds me
dive
of
into
like
this?
Red War 2.0. Sorry, Ty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, Travis.
No, go ahead. The thing I was gonna point out is, so they showed this at the preview event, and
Mhm.
my first thought was that they accidentally gave away the ending to. I mean, I'm not. This isn't a spoiler. They didn't
Mhm.
tell us how it's gonna end, but just based on the history of the fact that seasons happen throughout the season, and they canonically kind of happen after the campaign ends, right?
Mhm.
After we beat the main missions.
Mhm.
So a couple weeks ago we had Scarrow on, who was insisting that we're going to quote lose big in
Yeah.
Lightfall, and I
Yeah.
just want to point out that based on everything we know about the seasonal content, that doesn't happen, because the tower is still around, the EDZ is still around. It's not like we've gotten kicked off Earth and we're now, a spacefaring society who doesn't have a home planet anymore.
We're,
Like
we're
Yeah,
dead
not
over
quite.
it.
Earth.
We're dead over it.
I was like,
Yeah,
that's
we're not
post
dead
final
orbit.
shape. That's post final
Yeah,
shape. Yeah.
We're still in Earth. Things seem to be fine. All the characters you know and love are still alive, and we're just fighting the Cabal. Like, that's what's happening in that season.
Yeah.
So it is not a very. Basically, I think that we can pretty much put that idea on the shelf. Like, there's not going to be some like crazy change and the tower's going to get blown up or anything like that. Like, that's not happening this season. So Scarrow, you're wrong. You were always going to be wrong.
That's what this all is about. This is
He's
the
wrong
shut
to say he's
down.
wrong.
You
Yeah.
were
know
just
you'd have
wrong.
cut,
You were
Scar. I
just
know you would have
wrong.
cut, Scarrow. I know you would have cut.
I
Get out.
mean, yeah. So it's like we've got Season of Defiance coming, which is cool. We are gonna have, like, if I list off everything in Season of Defiance, it's like no more Umbrals, no seasonal currency. You get singular keys. There's fewer vendor upgrades this time. You've got Guardian ranks. We've got less craftable weapons. More long-term sources will be random rolls. You've got resilience cap changes, and you've got our ability cooldowns we know about. We've got Vanguard the Battlegrounds is going to be another battleground for this season, which, take that or leave it. The Vanguard difficulty updates and all those other things, dynamic skill stuff they're working on. It's like all of that stuff kind of comes together, but you kind of get to, it's like, all right, strikes. It's like 4 of the 6 Nightfalls in season 20 will be new/refreshed. I'm like, Mars Heist Battleground, which is cool to see a heist battleground and a Grandmaster. That sounds interesting. You've got Arms Dealer refresh. You've got Exodus. Sorry, not Exodus. Thank God. That's actually not going to be around.
God.
Exodus Crash and Inverted Spire are not. Nobody loves Exodus Crash, so that can go die on a hill somewhere.
Inverted Spire has also been in the game for way.
It's been in the game
That's
too long, but it's a better strike. But it's a better strike.
They had it at E3. Like,
Yeah.
I was lucky. Like, I was lucky enough. I actually went to that E3.
Oh, you was there.
And yeah, and I like got to go in, and I like played. Oh, this is such a great strike. That was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's like that's.
I got it. Like, we know how it goes. Let's do something different.
I think I've played it at that E3, and I think most people played it before Destiny 2 came out because it was one of the previews.
Yeah,
it was
it was a preview strike. Exactly.
Yep.
That was the one day showcase.
It was like that one map on Nessus for PvP, and then you could do that strike. There was those two things.
There was
and you
those
just played the crap out of them.
We played them to death during the double primary era. Yep, I remember.
It was like, Heist Battlegrounds and PsyOps Battlegrounds, they're going into Vanguard Ops. Called it, but, it's like good thing. Yeah. It's, good place for that content to go. Nightfall's getting a mix-up, but 4 out of 6 are new or refreshed. I'm like, Lake of Shadows, Arms Dealer, Mars. That's 3 of the 4, means I'm going to guess Lightfall has 1 strike. It's going to be like Europa. Because, unfortunately, like Europa got the Glassway.
Yep.
We got 2 with Throne World, but if you go 4 new ones, if you have a new strike.
I bet you that strike is one of the story missions.
I'm sure it is.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Guarantee.
Most
just like Darkblade was.
Yep. So, I mean, I read through. It's a lot of list of changes coming. I was like, but then you get to like season 21. Not raising the powerful or pinnacle cap. That's exciting. No vendor upgrade. Reworking how that's done. Fresh activities like Shattered Realm, which we just raved about last week, and the first time we saw Battlegrounds, like a new activity. They're going to have fresh themes like cowboys and reapers and pirates and all that stuff. Enhanced weapons are probably going to be coming around that time as well, outside of the adept raid weapons we're going to get this season. And then like that feels... And then Season of the Deep, when you talk about the Deep, we're talking about old ancient hive lore. So the story there is where theoretically maybe this is the Savathun coming back with I can't even remember her ghost's name off the top of my head.
Forget his name. He's got a weird name.
Emo something.
Emotion, yeah, something.
Somebody in chat will know.
Yeah.
And then that
good,
might be
yeah.
a point where Savathun and Xivu Wrath have some kind of interaction because Xivu's still got to get in this mix at some point. So it's like, that's kind of cool. Imaru, thank you. See, I thought it was
Thank you,
all that
Chet.
stuff. See, yeah, 4 people are like, how fast can I type? I'm first. Oh, how many videos have you posted, man? I'd be like, first, and you're like, good job.
Chat being smarter than us is actually a good
here's
thing.
the thing.
It means we're doing our
Chat,
job.
I can tell you my experience on Fireteam chat is that the people in chat never understand how much harder it is to remember something when you're doing a show.
Oh yeah.
It's way harder.
I'll
'Cause, like, if
listen
you ask
to
me on the
80
streets,
yeah.
I'd be like, Amaro, remember all the crazy stuff, and then you get
Yeah.
on a show and you're just like, I can't.
Blank.
remember.
Just like, yep.
You're
Yeah.
invested in the conversation, not like the data points that are way
Yeah.
back in your brain from like a year ago.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but it's like when you get to seasons to come, season 23, 22, season deep, season 21, like both of those sound like very distinctly different. We don't have the vendor upgrades. Crafting seems to be coming. For the fine points, when you get into the little stuff that I mentioned, what are you excited of the fact that like 21 and 22, no vendor system, no vendor upgrade paradigm? So my question is, what do you see them doing instead? Because theoretically, you're going to have a weekly quest progression of some kind, some general walk your way through a weekly thing. They're not going to dump the entire content on you in like, the first week. You're not going to be like, hey, here's 8 weeks of a story all in the first day. They're not going to do that for a season. So I was curious if you guys have an idea how they would do it.
I have a theory, and as soon as I say it, everybody's going to hate me and insist that Bungie would never do it.
That's fine.
let's
You
go.
can cross it off the list. It's okay.
Okay. My theory is that they're going to time gate the season pass, and that'll be your seasonal progression.
Yeah, no.
It's my theory.
People
Like
would be pissed.
I was like the 0 through 100 season pass? That
Yeah.
thing? Oh, yeah, you want to tick a whole lot of people. Yeah, just go ahead and throw that out in the universe so that can go
look,
and burn into the trash.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm happy to be wrong. That's just, it sounds like they don't want to introduce new progression systems, and they already have an existing progression system that people beat in 2 days, and they cheese it. And so my theory is that they're going to lock your progression in the season pass behind completing, the weekly missions and content and that sort of stuff. And, you get 10 levels a week for 10 weeks or whatever until you can max it out. That's my theory. I if they don't want to introduce new progression systems, I feel like they might do that. But hey, what do I know?
Okay, well, I will give the percentage of that being likely as very small, because you are going to probably aggravate lots of people with that. I could see more of, if they handle it right, it would be more of, take something like Shattered Realm, where we had the kind of Metroidvania of like week 1, 2, and 3, and then you had the kind of variations with the Corrupted or something that we had with them. As you worked through that, it was, for one, you had different places you got to go, because there was 3 different branches, but it was also what areas you could access. And if they don't make it to where, hey, go do thing, checkbox, put currency into slot into like, ATM machine and pull out like key card, like level 2 access slot. Like, if you don't go through that whole system and you're just like, hey, you go through and like you do a random other thing, and you still get like the progression of being able to traverse in those areas, it doesn't need the little vendor guy. So maybe it's just a different way to send you through a quest to now give you, hey, now that you're this far into the weekly quest, you just straight up have access to access level 2 key card, whatever you want to call it. Like, they could do that just internally in the quest without the vendor. I don't know if that changes it much, but at least you're not trying to like pick a node, go here and pick the wrong thing.
Right.
They're picking it more as opposed to you, but again, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. To me, it's I call this redundancy protection. They understand this thing is getting very formulaic, and you get like exhaustion with anything else, like you just do repeatedly. That's been the problem with the seasonal format. It's just so samey. It's after a while, it's go to the vendor. Okay, which are the ones to unlock to optimize me?
I mean, how many
And then
videos of those have I done?
Exactly. Then you throw the top on that. Then they want to time gate certain nodes, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So you got all these different things going on. And like Mano said, very well, is that the expansion stuff is just so high level and so vintage Bungie. Like I rave to people all the time. Like that is classic Bungie, what we know them for, especially Witch Queen specifically, which we all revere. So I think in my opinion, they're not going to be able to top expansion content. I'm just gonna go with y'all. Like I know people wishing on the stars, and I'm pulling for them to be better, but expansion content to me is really dedicated revamps and seasonal things. This is more of this live service. Hey, tune in next week. Hey, catch this real quick. It's more microwavy. Like we just want to keep you here for engagement, whereas we build up to this big thing where the game actually really changes.
Microwaving Oreos, perhaps?
You know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. But
I listen.
That unfortunately with the live service model, it's about the drip feed and engagement. It literally caters to it. So, I'm hoping they do something really cool. I'm hoping, but I don't got my expectations so high that I'm expecting something so transformative. If they do, I hope I'm wrong. But we'll see. That's where I'm at with the seasonal stuff.
So when you get down into more of the minutia of the season, Travis or Mano, where are you guys at on things what are you excited about over like the seasonal minutia, whether it's like the vendor or, less upgrade? Like what are the little stuff that you're looking forward to seeing?
I'll try to wrap up kind of like what we were discussing before with that too. The seasonal model was a formulaic solution that they used to create level design. If you think of it from like a design point, what it's designed to do is take you through, like if like I played like Assassin's Creed and some other things, what I think is going to happen, and I'm hoping that they do, is one of the best things about Destiny that I think that I enjoy is the questification and the finding secrets, especially with the Shattered Realm. I think if they could lean more into that, that would be a positive thing, because part of the reason people enjoy those things is because people enjoy surprise. And I know that I've communicated with them directly, and I've said, no one cares about things that they already know, that they can go to a vendor and they're just like, oh, look, it's a checklist. Oh, look, I'm getting excited by this. No one does that. People get excited for stuff that is new, different, and surprising. Like, I didn't know that was there. Like, I think that was one of the nice things about the Shadow Realm, which you had mentioned, E. But again, the whole design thing, and what I'm hoping that they start to do is the questification. Because like, if the quest takes you to an area, or a quest takes you to a place that's completely and utterly different, or one of the things that I was hoping that they would have done is do more with the Lucent Hive this past year.
Seriously.
Because like we had like what, 3 Lucent, like we had the expansion content.
Yep.
Then we had I think it was Season of the Plunder. And
that's fair.
That's fair though.
And we had a couple there. I wanted it to be like a Taken War. I wanted them out. Like I wanted them on different planets and like, oh my gosh, I better be ready to fight them. Because that's how it was marketed. If they can do something like where you're going into these realms and you have to fight like Tormentors or something like that, that might be a way. And maybe you fail. Maybe you do not make it. Maybe you're not able to defeat that, and you have to go and you have to do something to upgrade the vendor or do the quest or whatever. Again, I think that's how they would have to do it to make it exciting. Because right now, the veteran players are too good at the game. They know too much about the game. They have too much history to go through a checklist. Like the checklist, if it's a quest, that's totally fine. But if it's like a checklist, I don't know.
Especially a time-gated checklist, it feels even worse because you're like, the only thing stopping me is you guys saying, wait 7 days. Like,
I hope that they're taking some of the feedback and saying, you know what? Some people want to burn through the content and go play something else. Like the whole check-in every week thing does get to be a little samey. If they could mix it up and maybe have like a couple of weeks, like where you could speed through the content, like maybe 3 weeks, and like burn through stuff if you really wanted to and let other people take it at their pace. I don't know if they'll do it. They probably won't. I see Travis just being like, dude, they're not gonna, and I know.
No, it's not that. It's just that it's so funny how cyclical Destiny is, because Bungie actually already tried everything you're talking about, and players revolted. They really did with Destiny 2. Destiny 2 vanilla, when it launched, every developer in the room, when at the launch party and the review event, was like, yeah, we're trying to take away the weekly ritual out of Destiny because it's just a lot of work and it gives people FOMO. And they were speaking as like casual players, which I would say a lot of the people at Bungie were at the time sort of exhausted by their own game. Like staying up to date with it was just a lot of work. And what happened was players were just like, no, we need things to grind for. We want to play this game every minute of every day for the rest of our lives. And Bungie was like, all right, we're going to try to do that. And so now I actually think they're in an okay spot on this because they're trying to straddle the fence and say, we give ways for people to play every day if they want to. We've got the Grandmaster Nightfalls and the content that like realistically no one's going to play except for the hardcore of the hardest core. But if they want to play it, they can grind forever. And then there's the mainline content where people want to log on and everyone should play that stuff. And they do that too. And so I think what they're trying to do is make it so that it can be palatable to both of those groups. And I think they do okay at it. They could do a better job. I think in some regards they can give more incentive for the hardcore to go crazy because obviously
they need it.
Grandmaster Nightfalls aren't really that rewarding anymore with the advent of crafted weapons, and that sort of stuff. And then they can also do things to make casual players get less FOMO because just anecdotally, the casual Destiny players I know, the number one thing that makes them drop off the game is them feeling like it's a chore to keep up. And as soon as they fall behind, the fight just goes out of them. They're just like, no, I'm behind. It's too late. I'm not going to play again. I'll play in like 2 years, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess let me clarify kind of where I was coming from is like, it's not necessarily like speeding up through the content. I think the main issue with vanilla Destiny 2 wasn't necessarily, there was just nothing to do. Like if you think about all the things that we have in the game right now, it was less of like questification and like putting that stuff. There was nothing to do. There was a Nightfall and the raid. That's it.
I think a lot of times when it comes down to making it palatable for people who just want to play and then go and play other games, that is the model. The model is don't give them any more content. Like because there's an argument to be made that sometimes giving somebody good content and then telling them, all right, that's the end of the good content, leave, is better than saying, all right, that was the good content. Now here's 9 months of meh content for you to just like chew on, and it's not particularly exciting. And I feel a lot of hardcore players are getting burned out because they spend the majority of the year playing the meh content, and then there's this great peak during the expansions where they're like, oh, this game's awesome, and then they try to sustain that hype for another year before it goes in. I think that's kind of a problem, which ironically you could probably solve if you fix the multiplayer sandbox, since that's the most evergreen content you have. But you know, again, what do I know? I think it's a very interesting discussion, and it's something that I guarantee you, just me talking to Bungie devs, they think about all the time. They think about that balance of like keeping casual players in and hardcore. I think they've pivoted to the hardcore more than I'd like to, because their entire model, their entire model is around the people who want to play more. And you know, like crafting was when it was first announced, it was, oh well, this is an opportunity for the casual player to get hardcore-ish weapons. And now you look at the model to grind to get it, and it is not designed for casual players, because you have to get the weapon 5 times, and then you have to grind it for 30 levels and all that crap that like no casual player is going to do. And so I think that they've sort of let themselves get tricked into having to feed the beast constantly. And I wonder how much that process impacts their ability to deliver expansion content, how much of it affects their ability to fix the Crucible sandbox and the Gambit playlist and all the stuff that we complain about all the time. How much of that gets left out to dry because they're constantly worried about, okay, well, you know, what's going to happen next week in Destiny? Let's worry about now.
Yeah, I think the thing that's interesting to me is the rolling back of that complication stuff. So when I see that to me says, okay, you want to now shift and cater to the casual and get more engagements in items and systems that you don't see people really interacting with. So to me, I look at, they must be looking at this data, and it's like, okay, who's actually crafting weapons out of the percentage of the population? You know, who's engaging in our harder quote unquote content, whether it be dungeons, raids. And that's why I see like the Guardian Finder, the commendation stuff. It's all about, hey, let's make this a chatty game. Let's get to me. It's, everything now is more engagement focused. And when I see that, that to me means, hey, we're going to make the casual try to feel at least more comfortable. The key is going to be how it executes, and we have to see. There's still a lot that remains to be seen there.
There's
It's
a lot of
definitely
there's a lot of solo players that want to do more.
Yep.
And that's something that I think that actually like you and me specifically, like with our guides, like solo guides, solo weapons, solo guides. There's a lot of people who don't feel like they connect with anyone in Destiny. And that's why a lot of people stop by on Twitch and say hi. They're just like, hey, I need help with something, you know? So
yeah, I was gonna say, so like what you guys were talking about was the idea of like what is the proper way to deliver a story in Destiny? The campaign does it well. But again, also they're worried just as much as what Cog is saying about engagement. So then you have the weekly cadence of people trying to give them a reason to be around. Now, this season, I actually will say is one of the better.
right. I'd agree with that.
3 months, you had an epilogue, you had 7 weeks. It wasn't stretched to like 9 or 10. It wasn't 4. 6, 7's kind of about that sweet spot where you can still tell enough of a story. And the one thing I wanted to actually ask chat, and you guys put a 1 in chat if you think you've got the pattern, whether you've crafted it or not, if you've got even the pattern unlocked for 50% of the seasonal weapons. If you don't think you did, put a 2. But if you think you've got the patterns for 50% of the seasonal weapons, put a 1 in chat. If you didn't, put a 2. Because when you guys are talking about crafting, that is one of those things. And again, yes, this is the dedicated group because they're watching the podcast. Oh my God.
Look,
okay.
I'm on one of the windows and I'm going to put a 2 there. So
that is a lot of 1s, actually.
I'm
surprised. There's a few 2s. There we go. I
love
love the honest person. There's 1, I'm a psycho. And you're with a whole lot of psychos then. There's a few 2s. And that's fair.
Well, it kind of makes sense because in a way, the crafting system, I feel like the way it became more of a way to augment the collection system. Like I've got the weapon that I want. Well, hold on a second. Do you have all the red bars? Oh, there we go. And so it's a way to extend, because if you remember back vanilla, we didn't even have random rolls. Then we had random rolls.
Don't take me there.
Yeah, sorry.
It's a better devil's days.
But then they're like, hey, we need to create a way to add a value proposition to other things instead of go do the raid 3 times, get your stuff and get out. And I think that they sold it as a way of like, hey, not only can we give people the ability to craft the weapons exactly how we want them, but we also, in a way, kind of force them to play more content to get said. Because I don't have, like, for example, I know a lot of people who are super hardcore have all the Deepstone Crypt weapons. I just didn't spend time doing it. I did some helps. Yeah, I did some helps, but in a way, like if you need to, if you're like, dude, I need to get to those Deepstone Crypt, you have a reason to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. Is they're giving reasons for the
hardcore players to play.
I think that as maidenless behavior, but it's up to the people to spend their time how they want. So whatever.
That's exactly right.
Nice. I wanted to ask you guys, and then also chat as well. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Would you prefer it to stay at the 5 red borders, and they're kind of dropping at the rate that they are approximately, or would you rather see less vendor upgrade, but as the chests will get to, like, now you've got like seasonal chests that are going to on a consistent balance be more frequently generally rewarding with like drops, but have it be 1 frame. But if you get the frame, like the other truths, you get 1 frame for that and you have it, but you just don't get it very often. Do you like the progression of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or do you just know if you get a red border, you're like, I got the pattern, but it doesn't happen as often?
No.
Less dopamine.
I hate both of those models, to be honest with
I
you.
think that I think 3 is the magic number. Like if you give people and I know I communicated to them and I said, if you give people agency, when you give people the ability to feel like they're making an impact and I have a choice to go do this. That's one of the reasons why people have been logging on more now. They're like, I can get a red border every day. Log in, get a red border, log in, get a red border. If you can give people a path to something and say, here, this is what you need to do. This is the stuff to get. You're great. I think 5 is too much. 5 is work.
Yeah, I agree.
3 is enough to be like, oh, sweet, I got it. Cool. I only need 2 more. Like 2 more is accessible. If you click one, it's like, okay, now I'm going to 4 more. Like there's
Yeah,
like
no, it's-
Why are you guys collecting coupons to
exactly. Oh,
purchase a weapon that will then require you to use it for 30 levels while it sucks to eventually
be something.
get a good version of it that you then can't use because you have other weapons that you want to level
And
up.
this is something that I wanted to mention is I originally thought that they were going to do like a Call of Duty weapon system where when you ranked it up, you used it, and as you ranked it up, you could just select any of the perks. Like you could just literally, oh, I don't want to use offhand strike. I want to use volt shot. That would be, I don't think that you could do that from a developer standpoint.
From a developer.
Guys, I don't know. Okay, can you hear me? Hold on.
Oh, Discord died.
Okay, here we go.
Or died.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was just like the video call died in the middle, so
I paid the
no
bill.
big deal.
Yeah.
It was no late
we're-
fee
hey,
this month,
we're-
man.
Yeah,
Hey,
my
Todd,
video
we're-
was
Todd,
there,
we're-
but yeah,
Were you and
Discord.
Ebontis in chat together?
No, I
Okay,
was in
so-
my own.
so-
You get.
Mono and I were in chat. We stuck together throughout.
Oh, so
we were
see
just
what
hanging out.
what I did,
Yeah.
I went to Discord and I changed regions, and then it pulled
Mhm.
everybody back together, so it like repinged the call or
Oh,
something.
my man.
I wasn't
Man,
sure
there we
because I
go.
was like, I was talking to chat, my internet didn't
Mhm.
die, so I was like, that's step one. Discord, I was like, it was all just you guys were all spinning. Me
circling,
too,
you're
though.
spinning.
And then
Yeah.
finally, I had to redo it. So yeah, my video went down oddly too, which shouldn't have. Anyway,
I said Bungie had enough of y'all. Yo,
We started criticizing the
We
system
started
and
criticizing
Bungie
the
came
system.
in.
You go against the system sometimes. You know what I'm saying? You gotta silence you.
yeah, I got sniped. I'm sorry. I was almost outside my window right now, so I gotta be careful.
All right, we back. What we
Mano, sorry, go back.
Mano, sorry, continue.
Oh, I was
You
saying,
remember?
I hope that, and I don't know where we got cut off. I was just
Yeah.
saying it would be really cool. I originally wanted the crafting system to be like I got my weapon, and as I used it, I could select any of the perks. You can kind of do that now, but you have to spend currency on it, right? Which is stupid. Like I want to have the Call of Duty system, like where I've got Volt Shot, and one time I want to use Volt Shot, maybe I want to use Offhand Strike. And I think that Cog, you were saying from a developer standpoint,
Yeah.
again, I imagine that there's just too much data for too many people. You'd have too much. I don't know how that works. I'm an armchair
At least, like,
developer.
it'd be great if you could just do something to say, even for picking 2, because usually I don't need like 17 different options. But if I could, like the 3rd and 4th columns, if I could have like 2 perks there just to pick them, to be able to have a little alternate, maybe a PvP, PvE. That way, if like,
yes, preach, brother, preach.
that way you could have, hey, this is a PvP, this is a PvE, and then
Some
it's like,
seasons they did that. Not to cut you, but I remember some seasons you would have on the vendor system that, hey, now that you've leveled it
you
up,
can get additional.
time you'd get a double, double perk gun version of the gun,
Right.
kind of
You
thing.
can get a double perk gun, you just could never craft one that way, and it's like,
right.
I think they're crafting
That
is
was the evolved
such.
phase, bro.
Yeah, I was like, crafting is such a weird thing to see 50 currencies to 5 currencies to 1 currency to no currencies, getting rid of both of the alloys to say, hey, we've got some perks. We'd like to unlock more than one. Like the fact that if you want to switch perks, it's not just like you can't go back to the perk you were on without changing.
Right.
You are like kind of stuck. Like once you really commit to it, you're like, I paid the currency for the enhanced version of this. But I was like, maybe I want to swap over to this thing, but I can't like swap over for a little while and then go back.
It's got to be developer based, brother. It's got to be.
You can't really test the weapons then either. And it also kind of stinks that like the best perks, the perks that you want, and then this is where Travis's idea comes in. They're at the they're level 29 or what level, I think it's like level 16 you get everything leveled up.
Yeah.
Which stinks.
Dude,
like I get it.
Every part of this is designed to grind. So I think 3 borders is too much. I think 1
That's fair.
should be the max you have to do, just because it's like you have to pay materials, so you're capped on that if you're a casual player. That it's not cheap to craft your favorite
No,
know,
it's
weapon.
not.
It's expensive as hell. And then you've got the grind of using the weapon, which I would argue is probably the worst part.
It is.
That's
Yeah, I agree.
that
I
shit
hate
takes
it.
forever.
Yep.
And as soon as like I have this problem now where I've got God roll crafted weapons, but I can't use them because I've got shitty weapons that I need to use
That
to
you
level
need to
them up
use
so
to
that I
level
can
them up.
craft them.
Yes.
Yeah,
agreed.
so it's like I'd never get to use the weapons I want. So
yes.
if the change that they think needs to happen is at the red border level, I think one red border is what they should, and they shouldn't make it harder to get a red border. They should
How
just
about-
make it you get one and then you can craft it and we can start the crappy grind. Or better yet, keep it at 5 borders and then fix the other problem, which is
Yeah.
the grinding with that weapon part sucks. But you shouldn't have to do both.
I was gonna
How
say
about
for well, I was gonna say for your once you get the weapon to craft, like once you craft the weapon, all the non-enhanced perks at level 1 you could pick them all. But if you want enhanced, then as you use the base level perks that are still good and fun that you want, use that up until level 20, and then maybe once you get to like level 20 with that weapon,
Or
then you
choose
could
a couple.
yeah you
You
could
That
go
choose
could
and
a couple.
work. Or
at least you
could
have
do
good perks for a while.
I feel
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
But
it's
Or
I-
you
like-
should be able to one red border you get to craft the weapon. Every red border after that you can infuse it into your crafted weapon to level it up 10 levels, right?
See,
to, like,
and
speed
there-
through
that-
the-
That's
Yeah.
what I was
Level.
thinking of, like the Destiny 1 system. Because remember, we had to
Oh,
do
the
this.
circles. Yeah. Remember?
We
yeah.
had to
Motes
do
of
this
light?
because
The
we
motes of
put
light?
orbs
Yeah.
of we had to put motes of light in. I don't mind that because the whole thing is like, oh, I got some like you can get a collectible, but at least you can get access to the perks you want. I think the idea of like going and crafting a weapon and you get to choose any 2 perks that you want, and the more you use it, then you can unlock all the other perks, and then you can select it if you want to do that. But you're right, like I'm using like something like hipfire grip on like
Oh,
a
God.
sidearm.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
like I don't who cares? Like
Nope.
it's the worst.
And you stuck, and you gotta stay with that. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
worst. It's the
I'm
worst.
the same thing. I think I'm using a sniper rifle right now, and it's going to take me a million years to get to the
Oh,
version
Mhm.
that I-
And
where I-
special weapon. That's another
Special
thing. Like,
weapons, yeah, they got
the scaling on like special weapons and heavy
scaling.
weapon needs like primaries. Yeah, I shoot my pulse rifle all the time, but like a shotgun, you want me to kill 2,000 people? You out of your mind? Like no.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So-
No,
I'm
100%.
going to be using that sniper rifle until the end of, final shape.
Which sniper rifle is
I'm
it?
finally
Which-
going to get to level 27.
Which
or whatever.
sniper is it?
Why are
It's
you
the
using
one
sniper?
from King's Fall Raid. I just want
Oh,
to
Oh,
Defiance of
Defiance of
Amethyst.
Okay.
yeah.
Defiance of
I wanna
Amethyst.
get
Amethyst.
I want-
Amethyst.
I want a PvP sniper. So
Mm, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, that's
It's a
true.
great-
PvP guys
it's a
use
great one.
snipers. I forgot. My fault.
Well, and the thing is that the only way to do it, players will always find the most efficient way to do it. So we will
Yes.
go into Shirochi, put on some anime or put on a movie,
Yep.
and
I
we'll do
won't.
it. I know you won't. Yeah, 100%.
I'm
But like
sure
the
Chi would do
hardcore
that.
players will just be like, dude, I'm just going to go do it. And
Yep.
I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to
Yep.
do it.
It's just
'Cause at the end
homework.
but that's exactly it. It's homework. I don't feel good about doing it. They need to do
Star
something.
chores. We
Agreed.
call
Yeah,
it
it's
Star
chores.
chores on the show.
It's
show.
chores. No,
It's
absolutely.
chores.
Absolutely. Here's the thing, and I just want to be devil's advocate in fairness to them in the reference that I agree with everything y'all saying. The slog is annoying. No one wants to play with weapons at perk levels that are garbage and not fun, and you're not maximizing the gun. The problem is philosophically, the reason why they're doing that is because they're like, hey, this is bad RNG protection. Right. So we don't want to give you this instant gratification to craft exactly what you want. And
But I
thus
just
slog you and force
I
you to
just
grind.
won the bad RNG protection game. I finally won it, and now instead of I'm out of the bad RNG game,
Right.
and I've moved over to the treadmill that I've got to be on for a while, and the treadmill is way too long. Like the setting
I
on the
agree.
treadmill
I
says
agree.
you got to be here for like a marathon, and I wanted
I
to do a
agree.
5K max. Like
I
I've gone too
completely
far.
agree with the length of it. And that's where the balance comes in because they are purposely making that a grind.
Yeah.
To,
like-
and that part is unfun. And I hear you on that. I'm just curious if they will change their philosophy because when crafted weapons came out, that's what their reasoning was behind it. Like you've been unlucky, so now you get a chance to craft, but we're gonna make you grind long before you get that.
If
what
you go,
want.
if you go through the process
Exactly
of
what
like
you want.
unlocking a weapon and you go through and you have the 5 patterns, you got 5 patterns, whatever process that took you to go through, and you get to craft it, all the base level non-enhanced, you make the enhanced perks.
You should just get them all.
Yeah, you should just get them all. Pick whichever one you want.
Easy.
That way, as you level up the weapon, you enjoy it with the perks you're hoping to get, You've already won the game. You still got to spend time to make it enhanced, and that's your grind. But you commit to the weapon you like. You don't commit to this crappy one. Again, these are all ideas.
Well, and part of it comes down to, and this is a big problem that I think Destiny and Bungie has in general. What is their goal? Like because every company, whether it's a dev or anything else like that, they have metrics, right? They have, is it, and I think that right now what Bungie is struggling with, and goes to other content and other things that we're probably going to get to. What is your metric that you're trying to gain? What's your what is it called? KPI? What's your key performance indicator, right? So are you looking to have people spend more time in the game? If that's your goal, you've succeeded. Or is your goal for people to enjoy the game, or is it the monetization of the game? Like, you have to choose, and I feel like they're trying to do everything, and it makes people like, oh, I'm gonna go spend time at Shuro-Chi, or Travis, who's gonna just check out. Like, dude, it'd be cool if you could just go to a private match and be like, dude, can you just sit here so I can snipe you for like an hour and like just level up a sniper like that? You can't even do that. You just have to go to Shuro-Chi. So
here's a question that goes into kind of the engagement bit of it. I wanted to ask you guys your thoughts on season 21 and 22. Probably most seasons, it sounds like, after no power pinnacle grind. They are removing the pinnacle grind from seasons. So you'll go through the expansion, probably the 200 levels of 150 soft, 50 powerful, probably 10 pinnacle to end up at like 1810 or something. Seems like speculation by the numbers. I know I said the word soft all weird, and Travis is laughing now.
I just was the reason.
Had to get a laugh at him. But I wanted to ask you guys, like, now when you go to a new season, and I think the reason is because we've got your playlist rules and legend rules and all these modifiers they're messing with power on, and we know like some power system, and we'll get to that discussion about Final Shape in a little bit, but no power increase. So now you log in, you don't even have to worry about your pinnacles, which really means if you hit pinnacle cap in Lightfall, you are theoretically good for the year. Now, granted, Austin says in chat, everybody hates the pinnacle grind, and you're not wrong.
It's stupid.
So at this point,
it makes no sense. There's no point to it. It just makes the numbers bigger arbitrarily. I get some people get dopamine off of that, but it is nothing. You're chasing a dream, a lie, an illusion.
Illusion. To Travis's point, and Mano's point specifically, is that remember their goal is to now bridge this gap between people who are not playing anymore. And what's the most intimidating thing? Oh my God, look how behind you guys are all 1850 and I'm 17 something. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, that's the separator. So what do you do for engagement? Keep them at the same level. And now you see them testing this new difficulty spike stuff, right? Where like at Season of the Seraph, at the end of the activity, it's always 5 levels ahead. That's where they're leaning into, because at the end of the day, it's all engagement for them. In this case, I actually agree. It's like we've been at that point for some time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could do a Grandmaster one day and you can't do it the next because we're in a new season, but now you've lost all your progress. And
it was literally keep going.
No, I was just curious. I am curious though, even though I think this is better for the overall health of the game. I am curious about my hardcores. I'm curious about, you know how it is though. You say it in the chat, but like dudes be flexing that number. Dudes be like, yo, where you at? You were 17, 16,
well, I encourage those people to find some other place to put their energy, because this is not the hill to die on. It is a completely pointless grind.
It's a measuring contest, bro.
You'll always have the season pass
not anymore.
Level.
I'm just telling you, every clan I've been in or see people be like, oh, bro, what's up? You ain't playing the game no more. You take 1 week off and you see a dude get on 50 levels.
They're getting rid of the season pass too. That's not going to be bragging rights either. No one's going to see the season pass, which is good.
Yeah,
but there's still a season pass power level, right? Power level increases.
You'll probably get the artifact level. Again,
they'll have that. That'll be.
But like, that's not going to be a kind of a public thing, I guess. But that should probably even just go. That should go away too, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like,
it should go away, but they'll have that for the hardcore, and it doesn't matter because you're maxed out anyway, right?
Yeah, like everything's going to be playlist rules in different variations.
Yeah. Right, and part of it's tricky. I mean, I can tell you that my brother and like my really close group of friends, like they did this once before. If you remember, what was it? Season of the Blacksmith. Or
Black
Season
Armor?
of the Forge?
Yeah, Black Armor. Yeah, Season of the Forge. That's the one. Season of the Forge, and then going to the Gambit. The they were willing to do Season of the Forge because they're like, okay, there's Foundries and yada yada yada. But then when they went to Season of Gambit or whatever it was called, it was Joker's Wild originally, and they had to regrind their levels. They're like, I'm out, see ya. And that was the first moment. And they tried to fix it, but like people have to grind again to do Lightfall or to do Nightfalls. It's just like, dude, like why? You know, they really just need to redo the leveling in the artifact system. I don't know what the artifact can get you. Maybe the artifact gives you the season pass items. I don't know.
I mean, the artifact you like
it kind of already does that.
Yeah, the artifact gives you like mods for the season, so that's like kind of your XP progression to unlock like tweaks for the season. And I'm like, I'm kind of okay with that because it's not crazy hard to get all of them by the time you progress through it. But yeah, the arbitrary level of like literally Grandmasters, Vanguard Ops is going to have some type of level cap on it. Now, it's not going to be as high as Battlegrounds. I said Battlegrounds is going to be like that 5 over. I'm guessing Vanguard's going to be like 0. Just a guess. I mean, speculation. Grandmasters are 25. Like, you can just sit there and do every PvE activity. I mean, they even said Neo Moon is going to feel like Legend, Battleground, kind of, if you patrol. Because that's actually going to give you a challenge in patrol because it's the new zone, crazy fight going on. So at this point, we can go through the power level for certain stuff, but like the seasons, we don't need to do the artifact because it literally is serving no benefit.
Well, in your go ahead.
One quick thing, man, I'll give it back to you. You remember that season that the power grind bit them in the ass because there was an activity that low lights couldn't do.
Was it Dares?
Yeah.
It started and they were just getting
that was Dares.
Those Dares.
Dares.
It was, and they just couldn't do it. They had to, come on, guys, we need you to chip in and help these guys. Because the power light really punished a new light person trying to get in at that point of the season. It was hilarious.
It's like, I mean, somebody said like WoW makes you level up every expansion. I'm like, yeah, that's every 2 years for a WoW expansion. It's not like this is every 3 months and somebody missed out on 3 months of expansions.
Let's not hold WoW as the...
Oh, I know. I just mean like the expansion level, like expansion leveling up. I'm like, yeah, that kind of feels good with the expansion. You do it every year. But yeah, now just use playlist rules for everything else. And it's just enjoy the content we're giving you. It's like Call of Duty. Here's a new map. Here's a new activity. Here's a new map. Here's a new activity. You don't need this arbitrary grind. And this artifact level is not really going to matter. So that's kind of weird and bizarre.
The worst part is probably the fact that like you're just trading time for levels.
Yeah.
Or you're I think that's the worst part, and that's the thing that makes you not feel good. You can be the most skilled player on the planet. You can be Salta Greppa with his 3 belts strapped around his head. You can't access a Grandmaster Nightfall until you level to a certain level.
So you put time in, and I hate that too.
And that's the worst part. That's the thing that, again, that removes agency. Like, it would be cool if they could do something where, and again, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, but it'd be cool if, like, you talk about those, Cog, you were talking about those different power level spikes. It'd be cool to be like, hey, if you do the medium version of this, you'll get this much XP. And they kind of do that now, but not really. But if you're a Giga Chad, you go in and you do the hard version of it, like, you get a level, like, you get like just instant level. But again, because then you're not trading time for not trading time, your experience, your weapons. You give people multiple paths to get there, choices, agency. But if you're the baller and you're a hardcore player, like Trav was saying, you have something that you can do. But right now, all the season pass and all the leveling is I'm exchanging my time for levels.
For this,
or I'm using a macro to go into some place and level up, which is probably what some of your homies and your that's probably what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like, you can bounty AFK farm, and that means absolutely nothing to me. It's not.
Last point, the new flex will probably be that the new flex will probably be that ranking system that I think based on the activities. Yeah. And the good thing for me out of all of this is you're gonna be so proud. I won't be wasting upgrade modules anymore just to have to keep this thing. Because you know how E gets mad and I'm broke. I don't have no upgrade modules. I'm out here doing all type of bad things.
I got to explain this because in the middle of like the Lightfall expansion under the soft cap, Cog has to like look pretty and manage a build and stats. I'm like, that doesn't mean a damn thing for like 200 power levels. What are you doing? He's like, but I gotta like look. I gotta use the same weapon and use all the armor the whole time. And I'm like, no, probably you don't need much of it.
Fair, E, there is more than just the cosmetic look. He's also taking his level 10 powered up armor with the mods he wants. I feel the pain, dude. It's every expansion is like your guardian goes through puberty and
Yeah.
He goes
And
through
they-
like this awkward
Legendary
phase where none of
campaign.
his
Now the
builds
legendary
make sense.
campaign I
It's
will
super
give
annoying.
you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And salute the
Grabs
Witch
for the
Queen
money.
for giving us upgrade modules at the end of each level.
Yeah,
So I
they-
can keep what I want going on in the loadout that I
they
got.
fed your addiction. They fed your addiction the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I stan Cog's opinion, even though he is being fiscally irresponsible. I'm with him. That's fine.
I'm living check to check.
We covered a
That's
lot of
right,
stuff
yeah.
so far. Oh my god. Literally mission to mission.
I'm living check to check, bro.
You
Don't
keep
judge
getting
me.
bottle
Yeah, that's
service,
great.
and I'm like, Cog, you can't
Balling on the
afford this.
budget.
You can't.
Yeah, which is perfect because I look like your accountant. So I'm the guy on your shoulder going.
So I want to
God,
ask you guys
Push those modules this month, God.
refreshes
sorry.
on Lake of Shadows and Arms Dealer. The picture we saw was Arms Dealer, but it had a big giant heavy shank.
Why are
So-
we talking about this?
These are just the strike refreshes. I just wanted to see if you guys are just curious where you think they would change things up. Do you think Lake of Shadows is still going to have Taken? Because we have a giant-
But they're going
Lake
to change
of
it.
milk and make it Vex.
Well, I mean, we have a giant Cabal invasion. I was curious if you thought they might go Shadow Legion on both of these.
Lake of
Oh,
meat. Cabal.
I can't. They ain't gonna change that.
I'm going to drop some Cabals on your head, but that's a whole different problem.
Nice.
Anyway, okay, yeah, strikes are fine. We'll see them when we see them. Cool. No, I did want to ask you
Drop
guys for
pods flying at me.
yeah, coming in hot.
Coming
No,
in hot.
season 23. So they said in season 23, this is where we get Find Fire Team. So this has been kind of mentioned since the Lightfall, reveal basically in August
was
or something?
August.
Yeah.
Are
was
we
August.
still on State of the Game?
Yeah. This has been a long show.
I know.
So anyway,
I mean, we haven't even talked about the Lightfall preview. I mean, I'm
Preview.
like,
no.
I'm champing at the bit. Yeah.
It's a lot this week. So anyway, we've had a lot of tangents. Hope you guys enjoy the show at least. For everybody out there, if you guys are enjoying the show, since you guys are probably in the meat of the show, if you guys do want to support the show, please drop a like here. If you're watching it on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, drop a like. If you're on iTunes, please leave us a 5-star review to bump us up. If you search Destiny 2 on iTunes podcast, we're like the 6th one or 8th one. So let's see if we can bump it up a page. And again, if you do not follow ManoDestra, find this man everywhere, YouTube,
That's
Twitch,
my
and
guy.
Twitter. Blow him up.
That's right.
No, but the main thing I was trying to finally get to for the big article was season 23. Two things.
Mhm.
Find Fire Team, which was, again, talked about in August, and we're not going to see it until December, theoretically, if the timing matches what we got this time, about
Mhm.
9 months again. So that's almost going to be 16 months for a Find a Fire Team feature. Like their API already works with their website right now. I feel like they could go a Find Fire Team light before, because I feel like they want to make the grand thing and then like make it perfect and polished and everything. And it's still not going to be that when it comes out, because we always have to like beta test it. We just do. So I feel like some of this could be tested earlier, even minor features, as opposed to here's this and the keywords thing and with a mic and all the other stuff you want to put in, as opposed to throw some people into matches. It's because they're not going to have matchmaking on legend activities, and they should have that in there already in the game, and they're not going to have Find a Fire Team for another 9 months. So I just want to ask you guys, where are you at on the fact that it got pushed even to 23? Cog has got a smirk written all over his face,
so
so
you
he's
go?
got to go first. Yeah, like this
You
is...
are being so ridiculous. E.
I'm so
Come on.
ridiculous.
This is Bungie. Come on. We know this is going to take a while to get right. Because you know why? Remember that thing that came out when Destiny 2 launched? And they were like, look, we heard you.
What, no random rolls?
No. Remember when D2 launched? Besides that terrible atrocity, we heard you. No one's playing raids. But guess what? We've got this BS raid finding system.
Oh.
Remember that raid? What was it called? And no one used it. It was
Guiding
guiding
Guided games.
Guided
games.
Guided
Right?
games.
Launched it. Yeah, we solved it.
To be fair, Cog, it was
Go
a
ahead.
beta. It was not supported. It was terribly implemented. It was basically the most like, oh, we're trying, right? But you're not really trying. It's like that guy who says, I think we should try, I'm going to try a little harder at the relationship,
Hey.
but then he does everything to make sure that he gets broken up with because that's what he actually wanted. That's what was happening.
Bro, guided games was the word. Let them cook, please. Let them. They have shown.
I mean, I
that
get
they are
that, then,
not
but
capable of that.
like, find a fire team that literally works with their API right now on their website and their app. Like,
Get it.
so it's like the API functionality. Just even they don't have to go as much as like typing keywords, because I know it's on consoles and stuff. But you're like, pick the activity, pick your character, and the number of people you need. You know, throw some basic stuff in there. Just it feels like it could come sooner. That's fine. Okay, fine. So apparently I'm gonna die. I'm on the wrong hill.
The
It's
only
fine.
reason why, the only
It's
reason
fine.
why, let them get this loadout. Let them get in-game dim done
Yeah.
first.
Yes.
Let's just let
That's
it's like
fine.
a child.
Yeah.
You gotta let him
All right,
focus on
all
one
right, all
activity.
right, that's
He's
fine.
proven that he can't do multiple activities at one time.
Okay.
Let him focus.
Not a
That's all.
multitasker.
I'll do you one
Singular
further,
focus.
Cog.
Good.
Do you one further? I'll say kill it. You guys have other things to work on. It doesn't matter. Just kill
Correct.
this idea completely.
And at the end of the day, you're trying to out-develop human psychology. People are still going to be jerks on LFG, whether it's in-game or not. I've had some really great experiences on LFG, and I think that they're trying to take this dev time not only to get the code together, but try to develop something that will fight against the fact that some people want to do it, and if you don't get it the first try, I'm out. Like they're trying to out-develop human psychology. Like I don't think that it's going to work. I'm right with Travis. He's right on the money. You got bigger fish to fry. Make the game awesome. We've already got tools that people choose not to use. Like there's a Discord with thousands of people in it. If you really want it, works on every platform. We've already we've already gone to the cross-platform piece, right?
Yep.
So it's really on the players and just educating players. Hey, this is a resource that you can use.
Yeah.
There are more important things to do. Make the game awesome. And while you want to make it snappy and chatty and like have commendations, cool. But like LFG, there's other ways around it. Just make a great game and we'll figure out the rest.
All right. Well, speaking of making the game awesome, 3's development focused towards the core ritual activities as a focus for the season. I just wanted your guys' kind of hot take on what you think that means to them. They're going to spend a large amount of the they're still going to have a seasonal activity, probably 1, not 2, and they're still going to have a story. But they're going to have it's going to be core ritual activity focused for the season. What do you, I mean, is it just like the couple of the like 3 or 4 strikes getting another like glow up, or what do you guys think? I'm curious if there's anything that like does to your mind.
Where you at, Mano?
I'll be quick. Because I want to hear what Travis has to say about Lightfall. I want to hear what he's over here cooking in his brain, chomping. I guess they need it. The ritual playlists need love. Whatever they can do to spice it up, but we've seen what happens with like they tried to spice up trials. People play the game for rewards in the way that it feels. I don't know how much more they can do to make it awesome. Just redo the strikes. Give us new stuff. Give us new maps. And I know that it's easy for me to say that, but at the end of the day, like that's what we want.
I mean, more strike modifiers, I think, would be that one. Literally, just like the fact that strike modifiers haven't been updated in a long time alone could be just like an easy one because they had so much fun ones in D1. So that would be an easy one. Anybody else? No big deal. We can just honestly go to Travis for his Lightfall thoughts at this point because he's about to burst.
He's ready. He's been ready. He's been patient.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with moving on because I honestly have no idea what that sentence even meant. Yeah, so I saw so what I can talk about right now is I saw a significant chunk of Lightfall. They showed a bunch of stuff that a lot of you guys have already seen. So they showed the actually I should probably check. What did they show you guys?
We haven't seen campaign missions. I can tell you that we have not.
Cutscenes.
We've seen cutscenes. We've seen the witness flash in.
We've seen a little bit of cut, not much.
Cuts. Okay, I got it. Yeah, so we saw the ViDoc and like other stuff, but basically it was sort of an overview what to expect and some gameplay in different classes and that sort of stuff. So we just got to kind of see it. And I'd tell you that the vibe that I got, kind of my overall takeaway, is that I don't think Lightfall is going to be bad. I don't think people have to worry about it just being like, Curse of Osiris or anything like that. It's not going to be at that level. But I walked away from that being wholly unimpressed. Like to me, it was the most like baseline, just generic Destiny DLC I've ever seen. Like
Mm.
it felt like Beyond Light, like, or Shadowkeep. Like you sort of see it and you're like, okay, I get this. Like they're doing their thing, but nothing really new, nothing stand out. The story didn't blow me away or make me like super excited about it.
How much of the story did you see?
what did you
The
play?
stuff I'm allowed to talk
What
about
you're allowed to
is
talk about.
the stuff I'm allowed to talk about is the first mission and cutscene, which to be fair, they edited around part of the cutscene to avoid a spoiler.
So they
which
still
I
hiding
don't know.
spoilery. Okay.
They're hiding some stuff, but I'm not sure what it was. But basically, the mission that I'm referencing. Sorry, I'm trying to segment in my brain.
No, I get you.
I know.
I have
We got
partitions
you.
Now we got to be
built up.
careful. You got to be careful. I know.
Compartmentalization.
The part that they showed was introduction of the Neomuna characters.
Cloud Striders.
The Cloud Striders. The first one being Nimbus, I think his name is.
Nimbus and Rohan.
We talked about this.
Who to me is like a really cocky, oh, I'm sexy and young and I don't care what happens to me type of guy.
And like 10 feet tall, right?
They big though.
Tall, makes Osiris look small. And then his counterpart, who's like an old grumpy guy who has seen it all and he's grizzled.
Rohan.
And like both of them are, from what I've seen, super generic, like just Destiny characters of like, oh look, we're super cool and we do cool things, but that's about as deep as we get as characters.
It's a Jersey Shore in Destiny.
I'm done.
Honestly,
I'm done.
that's kind of it's honestly like Jersey Shore cyberpunk. That's kind of what it reminded me of. And then you after the story mission, you cut to a cutscene that I can talk about, which was basically Callus coming out of his deep sleep where he gets a makeover done, right? He shows up being like, oh, I'm so beautiful, look at me, I'm Callus. And then it's a series of cutscenes where the witness is like, yo, you gotta kill the Guardians, you gotta do this thing for me. And Callus is like, totally, dude, I'm gonna get it done, it's gonna be sick. And then the witness is like, yeah, and then the witness
totally came out the thing. Totally did.
Well, dude, he sucks, dude. I'll be honest. Callus sucks. Like he's not an interesting character, and like every scene he's in, dude, he is so dumb. And like I was wondering, like, are they going to give him like a makeover where he'll be basically a different character because now he's consumed by the darkness? No. Same dude, same personality, completely unintimidating, just like a joke of a character. And I don't know why he's the main character. And to be clear,
I'm hoping there's some twist with him, seriously, because
I hope there is. But the stuff I've seen, the witness is still on the way. They're not even here yet, which is like kind of the whole point. Like the ships are here, but the witness is off doing some other stuff. I don't know if that's part of the story they're hiding or what's happening with the witness, but like the witness isn't talking to Callus in person. It's like hollow. It's like, hey, I'm here, Callus. I'm still, on the way or doing something else, but can you take care of the Guardian problem? And so we're still not there. We're not there. It's another intermission type of thing.
Right.
Like
so
you're waiting for final shape, basically.
You're waiting for them to get there.
It feels like, when Lightfall was supposed to be the final chapter of Destiny, and then they announced that they were adding the final shape. It sounds like they moved all the content they had for final shape for Lightfall to the final shape, and they made this thing as sort of a, hey, we're going to keep you busy for a while, in the same way that they did for Rise of Iron. And it feels like it. It does not feel like the penultimate chapter of Destiny. Honestly, the Witch Queen feels way more
stakes.
Yeah, tonally like what I was hoping Lightfall would be. And the name Lightfall, so far what I've seen, does not match at all with these.
Lightfall.
Light is not falling. The Traveler still seems to be fine. Earth is not taken because we know that it's part of the season pass. Just everything I've seen so far, it's not the sky is falling. This isn't going to be the end of Destiny. It's not like everybody's going to stop playing it or whatever. It's going to be fine, but it feels like a repeat of Beyond Light, where we're getting a new power set, and that really is all they've got. That's it. They've got 8 story missions that I don't think are going to be amazing. They've got powers, which, quite honestly, the powers didn't look amazing. They were kind of like, okay, Hunter flying around with the rope, and it's kind of cool, but it's sort of like, okay, well, we've seen roaming supers before where they were hitting people, and there was nothing that grabbed me. There's nothing that
surprised by that.
Yeah, there's nothing that grabbed me and made me feel like, wow, this is like adding or building something crazy that I wasn't expecting. Really, the only stuff that really made me excited was the changes they're making to quality of life with the new Guardian rep system and the dim system. But I even have problems with those. I think the Guardian system, which is supposed to be like a how deep in Destiny are you builder, they announced at this event that it's going to reset in some ways from season to season. So once you get to max level 11, it's going to go back and go, oh, well, you didn't do the master raid this season, so you're now level 10 again, and you have to get back to level 11. That I hate. And then the dim system, they announced, okay, you've got all these loadouts, and you can click one button, it'll pull everything to your character. You can't send it back to your vault. So what happens is you pull something, and then it piles and it fills up all your stuff, so you can't collect loot, and there's no way to send it back without opening dim or an app or something like that anyway. So it's like a half-assed version of that. So like every part of the expansion that they showed people, and you could tell by the comments, like people in the comments were kind of
no, that's real.
I don't have any questions, but like it was basically just like, it feels like they rushed this thing out. It's not exciting as you would hope from being the chapter before the final one. And Callus continues to be not very cool. I'm reviewing this for IGN, and I am happy to be wrong about this. I'm happy to be that they put their worst foot forward and they're hiding a whole bunch of stuff to delight their players. In fact, it's something that Luke Smith has said before, that he's willing to lose a few sales if he can hide something and delight his players. And they've done that in the past, but I don't know that they've had the time to do that this time. It's been not that long since the Witch Queen. They put a lot of their effort into Witch Queen, and this really, somebody's saying Empire Strikes Back of Destiny. No, no, this is the short, this is the short story that comes out in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi to set it out, to set it up.
It's like where the Ewoks are like playing and doing something different.
Yeah, it's like an Ewok prequel to set up Return of the Jedi. That's what it feels like to me.
Do you think? Go ahead. Go.
No, Mano, you go. You guess.
Okay. Well, this is something that I've been mulling over. Is I think the reason why this is so difficult for me and for maybe members of my community, I feel like Savathun was such a huge, pivotal character. We've been thinking about Savathun since the end of Kingsfall in Destiny 1, because you're like, wait, Oryx has a sister and another. Wait, what?
Yeah.
And so you've had this like slow burn and this mystery and all this building up, and like you shoot your shot, and like it was great, it was fantastic, and like I love the twist at the end. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. Like the twist, I feel like with the Witness, like the Witness is such a cool, awesome, like amazing character. I feel like the way that Travis is describing him, like they decide, like you could have done this with Callus. But they're not. They're like kind of using him as a roadblock, so you don't have to see the Witness and see all the cool stuff, and saving it for the final shape. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I think I'm right there with Travis, but from the way he's describing it, But like, I want them to lean into it.
Everything from the tone, which from the second I saw Lightfall, I was like, this tone feels a little weird. It doesn't feel like Lightfall. It doesn't feel like the chapter where we're supposed to like lose big, or all the theories that were kind of out there. And just everything I've seen so far, like there were just no surprises at this event. There was nothing that made me go like, oh, that's crazy. The destination, which they showed off, it is a 3-hub destination, 3 circles connected by loading hallways with one drop zone. Like same
one
thing
drop zone
with the same thing you've kind of seen before, like the presumable 1 strike, the 8 story missions, like just all of the and the fact that they kind of gave away some of the details of how this is going to end by showing us the seasonal stuff, which I think was a mistake. That season should start a week after the game comes out.
Season of Defiance.
You know what I mean? Like the season of Defiance. They should have hit all that, let you play the expansion, and then they give you the season like a week after, or maybe a couple days after or something. But yeah, it just, I'm not, again, I don't think it's going to be terrible. Just everything I've seen so far, it feels like just sort of like the standard kind of like, they're just hitting all the points they need to keep Destiny alive for another year and keep players happy without doing anything really exciting. And it doesn't have the same feel that I had going to the Witch Queen, where it was clear they'd been working on this for multiple years. It was a major chapter in the story. Stuff happened. I also have a problem with, apparently, there's not going to be a lot that changes at the end of the story, because we're sort of in the same situation we are now, where like the Witch Queen felt like it had stuff in the world that changed. Like it was like the Hive now have light, and like that's just part of the world now, and like all this crazy stuff. And from what we've seen of the seasonal content so far, it just feels like we're still on Earth, we're still fighting. Now the pyramid ships are a little closer. We still haven't confronted the Witness yet.
Yeah.
So like the intermission. So it's like as far as like moving the story forward. I guess my question for you is technically I want to get back to the Strand part. That's the part that's bothering me.
Yes.
All right. So can you talk about the characters you touched with Strand besides did you touch
I could talk about what I saw.
What you saw. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the demo part that they had a Bungie employee playing for this
Gotcha.
part
No.
was a hunter, and it was them showing off Strand and some of the grapple hook stuff and some of the super stuff, the trading in the grenade, and then they had like Joe Blackburn and other people were like commenting on the gameplay. And it was fine. Like none of that was like, oh my god, this looks terrible. It was just sort of like, okay, this reminds me of like every other super I've seen, right? Where you've got a cool super that goes off every once in a while and you kill a couple people and then it ends. And then you've got a replacement for a grenade that is a zip line that you can use, which was cool, but it did do some cool stuff where it increased mobility. Like they were
about to ask you,
swinging
like,
themselves around and getting around the map, which was kind of cool. And also the verticality of the space was very different from anything else they've done in the zone. There wasn't like zero things I liked. It's not like it was more just like it sort of I went, well, that's Lightfall. That's sort of they didn't show
more
me
Destiny.
New. It was more Destiny. It's more Destiny. It's not better Destiny. It's not
Destiny. It's just
it's
Destiny.
not groundbreaking. I wouldn't even say it's Witch Queen level. I would say it's sort of like Beyond Light.
Beyond Light level.
It was
so
fine, right? Beyond Light. I reviewed it. I think I gave it a 7. And
you gave it a 7. Yeah, I remember.
Like a 7 to me. It felt like it was good, not great, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong. Again,
No. In your defense, you know whose similar thought was Tassie. Tassie said, "Look, I'm not trying to be down. I don't think it's necessarily going to be bad, but he has to be honest. Like I don't feel this demo did them any adjustment, and it came off kind of bland." He literally said what you said, Charlie. I read. I was like, okay, it seems to be.
I didn't even see that, so I guess I have to agree with Paul.
I think he was underwhelmed was the word, and I was like, that sounds like you and Travis spoke. So yeah.
My only question, what I'm hoping for, is that this new mentality that they're on, which I don't think is serving them any justice right now, which is we are going to spoiler hold. We are not going to reveal key plot points. We're trying to hold off these big reveals for the narrative, to keep the narrative intact. So like, you get it on day one kind of thing. I'm wondering if that is hurting them. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not absolving all the other things you said, that it's not, some of the things that you're concerned about. But I am concerned with this new approach with the way they're marketing, right? With trying to keep all these little, gotcha moments and big secret reveals so close to vest. Is that hurting the overall thing? Because based on what y'all sound, and everybody's like, yo, y'all didn't show this too well. But
it's kind of like they're trying to show off all the systems.
Right.
And as you're saying, they're trying to, if there is a Cade dies moment in this thing, or if there's a Cliff moment, like if one of those moments happened, they shouldn't be showing those. They're trying to figure out how to walk that line. And we've seen the seasons with day of reveals, right? Those multiple times this year. We had, we've had the Cade moments. We've had the cliffs being secret. They literally said in the thing, like, some seasons we're gonna, like Season of the Deep, we're gonna tell you about that stuff beforehand. Season after that could be radio silence. So they're still kind of trying to figure out what way to walk this line. Again, Travis has said this multiple times, and it's always kind of the thing. It's like we're hoping for what we haven't seen, and I think that still holds true. Is that there are, theoretically, if you saw like 1 or 2 missions, if there's 6 or 7 more missions, or if it's 8 in the campaign, they're usual, then hopefully in those 6 missions and whatever surrounds those, is there going to be like a worm mission or worm parasite quest? We have no idea if something like that's going to come through. There are certain pieces, even if they kind of have the functionality, that add to the experience of Lightfall, of which we've had them once. Can they deliver again? But as you guys have all basically said, and I'm in agreement, I said this today too, Callus doesn't feel like it's going to live up to Savathun, and I don't think it ever had a shot in the
we
first
gotta
place.
just be real with that.
No, I was like,
mean,
I was like, and I don't think it could do that in the first place. So that's the thing is, if we have that mentality and we're kind of attached to this universe in the first place, I have to think the narrative people feel the same way. Because we had the story about Caiatl, but it was not Callus, it was Gaul. It was, so it's like, they even know Callus is not front and center, because when we did the games, he's sitting there holding the chalice and really didn't affect or anything like that. So it feels like they almost know Callus is not worthy of the front and center moment. And that's why, again, it's like, I'm at the point to where I want a twist to happen.
Yes, the head fake. The head fake.
Yeah,
that's
head
what I'm
fake.
hoping
And that's,
for.
again, it's like, I know Callus got a glow up, so it would be weird. But if he's like mission 7 or something, you're like all of a sudden, like, wait, are we?
No,
And you're like,
no.
what actually?
Let's come out the chest and mission 7.
I can almost guarantee you, just based on everything I've seen in the story so far, that Callus is the main bad guy of the campaign. Maybe the Witness or someone related to them will be in the raid, but they're not going to be the story thing. It was so detached, and I'm just sick in Destiny of fighting proxies for the darkness.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's always
literally a disciple of the darkness.
Yeah, it's literally
pawns.
like they're
pawns.
pawns, and I want to fight the main bad guy. And Lightfall sounds like, Infinity War, where Thanos beats us, and then Endgame is where we come back and beat Thanos, right? And we're not getting that, from what I can tell. From what I can tell, it is like we're gonna beat Callus, and then next year we're gonna beat the Witness. That seems like what's gonna happen. So, yeah, we'll see. Also, just the context of this entire event, and part of what made me feel just a little like iffy about it is that right after I talked about this early in the show, right after they followed up with the, hey, thanks for coming to the event, here's some other stuff you need to know about things we're working on the next year. I hope that'll inform kind of your coverage. And it felt to me like a, hey, look, we know we didn't have much to show, but
you're implying the damage control.
I think there was a little bit of damage control, and again, that's just me guessing. I'm not
in the game. We know.
I'm just saying.
You can read between the lines like pretty well.
To me. It felt like that to me, like it was a little bit of damage control, and I think that's fair. And I think that what they showed felt like it was formulaic in the same way that seasons have become formulaic. Now expansions have almost become kind of formulaic. You give them a new superpower, you give them a new bad guy to fight, one new strike, and then you deploy a raid. I'm not saying any of that content's bad. I'm just saying it's sort of like a, hey, we know that we just gave you exactly what you were expecting with no additional surprises. So yeah. I'll also say, like, and by the way, the reason I'm talking about it here and I didn't write up a piece is because IGN didn't, my boss, Ryan McCaffrey, didn't want to do a preview because Destiny hasn't been performing for us super well, just metric wise. I don't know that that's a reflection of Destiny. I think partially probably is, because it's been going on for a long time, and I think they've probably done a lot to appease the hardcore without bringing new people in. We've talked about the new player experience, which is terrible. But the other part of it is that the Destiny community has largely, it is a niche now in the games industry, and they're hardcore about Destiny, and they tend to go to other places, not IGN, the like broad umbrella, right? They go to YouTubers like Ebontis who spend their entire lives just covering the game, and that's how they consume it. And so with the rare exception of the occasional Fireteam chat, reunion episode and weekly Xur articles for reasons I can scarcely comprehend, IGN does not really do well with Destiny content, to the point where we actually weren't planning on reviewing Lightfall at all. And I had to, convince boss Dan Stapleton, the review head, to review it. I was like, let me do it. So he was nice enough to let me do it. So, but yeah, it's this isn't, it shouldn't be surprising that we didn't cover it. So if anybody's wondering why I'm talking about it now and didn't write an article about it, it's because I just, I couldn't pitch it well enough to the team. But yeah.
Interesting. And Witch Queen, how did that do for the site? If you can talk about it, if you can't, that's fine.
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't amazing. Witch Queen's review did okay, but all the coverage and trailers and stuff before it didn't
hit the net. So they kind of transitioned, and yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Based on the facts, especially Fire Team Chat was probably the hottest thing. You guys had there. That was.
I honestly think as soon as Fire Team Chat left, it probably
then that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it makes perfect sense what you said. The community is more fixated on the YouTuber, for their sources of information.
And they can also just get the information straight from Bungie because Bungie puts stuff out every week, and there's a lot of like lines of communication, ley lines of communication, to use Mara Saab.
Yeah, I feel like this month of information has been a lot more, I feel like, than we've had in a little while. Like, I know Witch Queen, we had a build up to it. We got the tease about the trailer and stuff, but I mean, and I think Travis has got a point. If it's vanilla, to use kind of an odd word choice, but if it is like a vanilla Destiny expansion, they're trying to get the hype behind the systems. The quality of life systems. This is everything we're working on. This is the year. And then they're going to wrap up Final Shape Saga. And then I think the time IGN is called back, like Bungie comes back to the door and says, hey, Travis, do you want to come back and talk to us and do maybe a IGN first for whatever's post Final Shape? Because that's when it feels like that's the next, that has to be a big push. Because this has been the 10-year Light and Dark Saga. Post whatever that is, I think that's a point where if they don't try and get a new player base back in some way, shape, fashion, or form after the year of Final Shape, they are never going, it's just going to keep bleeding. At some point, they have to do a big influx again somehow. Now, they've said they don't want to do a Destiny 3. That's fine. But they need some way. Again, I'm with Man. I was like, I can see Mano shaking his head. I'd love to see a Destiny 3. Clean slate, wipe it, brand new. But again, I also don't know the way their dev resources seem to be like, here's the amount you get for Destiny. Here's the other stuff. Here's maybe like 2 different other IPs we're working on. I just don't know how much Destiny gets of the studio. And it feels like depending on how they're building things, as you guys have said, there's the possible multiplayer shooter IP. Brand new thing that they're building out there. Maybe there's a mobile game for Netties, all those other things. It does feel like somewhere they got to try and get people back into this thing because we just said it. Like the new player experience is not the best. Guardian ranks aren't going to instantly fix that. If you still logs in, one time you log in and you see this cutscene, one time you log in and you see this cutscene, and you still don't know what's going on. If it still doesn't guide you in that way, that doesn't help. The Guardian ranks are like, hey, you can go do these activities, but you're like story confused. So that's the type of stuff that at some point they do need to draw a line in the sand and find a way to get people back. That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
I mean, what I was going to say, because I wanted to listen to all of Travis's stuff because big brain over there and love it. And like love hearing about all the content. You are not going to inspire a large influx of players to come into the game unless if there is a massive tentpole. Witch Queen got a pretty good amount and it was okay, like Travis said. But you'll notice one of the things they have not done with Lightfall. Last year they were like, yo, we sold all the, what was it, like 1 million or something, like they specifically pre-order numbers. You will notice that in all their coverage they haven't said a word about that. Now again, I don't want Destiny to fail, but the thing is that at the end of the day you can only keep people on the treadmill for the game long, like for a certain amount of time. At some point you need to be like, yo, PvP players, we got you. Yo, we got this whole, like, you have to do it. You can't, even though it makes a lot of money, at some point you have to say, do you want it to die a quick death and get on to something new? Or do you want to like let it just die slowly? You shouldn't want that. You should have a clear cut, like, and I'm hoping that that's what they do. Like, I know that they say that they don't want a Destiny 3, but some people are like, oh yeah, there's never going to be a chest in the Vault of Glass. There's not going to be a set. Like Luke Smith is, and again, now he's the head of the entire franchise. He's said multiple things that like, we're not going to do this, and then they do it. I'm praying that it doesn't have to be called Destiny 3, but it has to be something that is a tentpole, legitimate, like, I am purchasing this game. I'm not sure if that works in 2023 anymore anyway, but I hope it does. Something that's like more linear and a large, big expansion of whatever this is, because I don't think you're going to get the amount of attention, whether it's from an outlet like IGN or Kotaku. I don't know how the whole like which system like you can newsworthy sections, but like if from players aspect, people are still being like Destiny 2's dead. Like it's still a meme, even though it's not. We know that he's right. It's a niche, but you're not going to change people's minds until you show them a reason to change it.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's.
I think there needs to be a reset instead of just continuing like maintenance mode, which I've heard Cog refer to of like they're just maintaining until they can,
foundational changes
until they can make Destiny 3.0, which I think we're waiting on. But
Hope so.
And this isn't to put a rain on anyone's parade or to say that you shouldn't play the game or that it's going to be bad or whatever. I'm reviewing it. I'll tell you if it's good or bad, like a week or two after it comes out. Yeah, I'm still, excited to play it. I'm excited for the campaign. Somebody in comments asked me, what am I excited about? I'm excited about fighting tormentors. They look cool. I'm excited about the new raid. The new raid is going to be awesome. The raid's no matter what, right? We know that's going to be great. And then I'm excited about more difficult content in Destiny, that sort of thing. I did want to bring up one other thing that happened this week, which I found kind of interesting, which is the Bungie yet again showing that they don't understand their payment model and how they're doing that, which is the announcement that you can pay to skip the campaign on your alt characters, which they are adding at a time when they are still refusing to get rid of paid transmog, paid season passes, microtransactions on top of that, a paid expansion, and paid seasonal content, and then also selling dungeons on the side.
No, I mean that was honestly a shock because
hold on, I gotta just say, like,
the wrong word.
Travis, that was an amazing segue, by the way. Nice job. Like just, and by the way, here's this new topic.
No, I mean that was the TWAB. The TWAB has a pursuit stasis or a pursuit glaive, which actually kind of looks cool with its skins for a change. It's a glaive. We'll see if it does that much, but it's got a couple new perks. But they're giving you the option for another thing to pay for in the game. And what have we've been literally talking about monetization for way too long on this show, because I'm sitting there like looking up what does it cost to go buy the old expansions right now, when the 30th anniversary pack, which is literally you're buying a dungeon and the access to Gjallarhorn for $25. Like that, the fact that the 30th anniversary is still for sale is a thing to be like, that should just be a free dungeon, go get Gjallarhorn, welcome to the party kind of thing. And on the fact that, you can pay to skip tiers on the battle pass if you want to.
Thank you. That's one I forgot. Progression skipping payment, which is probably my least favorite kind of microtransaction. And I'll tell you why. It's not because it's tacky to do it. It's because it incentivizes the developers to make the game more grindy and less fun, because then you want to pay to just get it done. It's the same problem I have with like Assassin's Creed. They sell like a $20 get double XP, and then they design the game to be really, really unenjoyable if you're not paying, or if you're not at double XP growth, because you have to grind twice as long to get through the campaign. So I don't like any microtransaction that incentivizes bad game design, and that paid progression expansion.
Isn't there a thing in design, like UX design talks about this too? Like sometimes it's like dark design, or it's got some name that like, I don't know what it's called, but like I've been doing some research into it too, but it's like this idea of like if you go on to certain applications, it forces you to do certain things that you don't want to do. Like say, for example, I want to go to Jimmy John's and I want to order a sandwich, or like Jersey Mike's, whatever. And it's like, dude, I just want to see the menu. I just want to see, you have to choose this, and then you have to do this. And then where are you located? Because we're going to deliver it. No, I just want to see your darn menu. You know what I mean? Like they put all these roadblocks ahead of you, and it has the name. I think it's like dark design or dark UX. I don't know. I'll have to look it up, but it reminds me of that, Travis.
Dark patterns in the chat. I don't know if that's what.
Dark patterns or something like that. It's something to that extent. Is like you set up patterns. And it's actually one of the things that they do on like a lot of social media and a lot of like app design things. is like you focus on getting people to click the thing that they don't necessarily want to. Like you'll see an app pop up and then like you don't see an X anywhere. It's like, do you want to select this?
Oh,
And you have to wait
Of
5
course.
seconds for that stupid X to come up.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like
one of
that's
the
it's
more
the same concept.
I had that happen recently. It was on like just a news website, but it was like it popped up in the wrong language. It was in Spanish, and you only have 2 options. One of them is technically cancel in Spanish, and I was like, I think this is right because I was like, I'm rusty on my Spanish. I'll be honest. But
Yeah, it's
like,
dark patterns. Yeah.
And I was just like, that's not great. There's not an X. I'm like, so yeah, I mean, we're getting to the point to where, and that's what it does. Again, if you guys are watching this, trust me, we love a lot of what you do, but we also have some questions sometimes because when you sit here and watch, as you said, Travis, is like transmog. I literally, as I said, I started Harry Potter recently. If you literally earn something, you can just equip it as a transmog. It's 100% free appearance.
That's how most games do it.
I know. And it's completely unlocked. There's no like seasonal cap on, like I hit the seasonal cap list this season or last season on transmog. I'm like, I actually hit it for one. I didn't think I was going to. And 2, I'm like, why is this even here? It's like I'm grinding out a basic bounty.
You know what's funny is I'm actually okay with transmog being paid and all that stuff if the game were free. The fact that it's a walled garden that has a $60 price tag and they cheapen it because it's like, you're paying for your hotel room and then you get there and you find out that it's like a shared room, and you know what I mean? And like you're getting the Airbnb experience for the cost of like a private suite, and it just feels cheap, right? To pay for the premium and not get it. So if it were a free game, no complaints. Fine. Sell me microtransactions, do the season pass, charge me for transmog, and fine. I'll even let you sneak in this new, pay to get through the campaign. But just in general, if your game is paid and then you want me to pay on top of that so that I don't have to play it as much, right? I'm paying you so that I don't have to play your campaign. What am I paying for then? I'm buying the game to play your campaign, and then you want me to pay to not play it as well? It's insane to me. It just seems like a complete backwards way to do this. So
I put a tweet out about this too. I said, I'm not sure how to feel about this because like I literally had a 50-50 split, Travis, because I had a buddy of mine, Aki. He says Final Fantasy 14. Aki, he's Aki and fam now, but he's a super cool guy. A Final Fantasy 14 offers the same functionality. I can see it being useful. And then another person was like, I'm concerned about the path that they're on. Somebody's choice to not play it and pay for it has nothing to do with it. But here's where I disagree with that statement because of what Travis said, is because once you say this is how we're going to monetize it, it starts to create that dark pattern. That's what it's called. It starts to create, okay, I need to design this with this in mind, is we need to incentivize this way instead of just developing a great experience. Because that's what people want. And one of the reasons why I think like Hogwarts is doing well right now, it's like it's that tentpole, like awesome, like here's the game, enjoy. Like you are willing to pay for it because you know it's all there. But as soon as you start splitting it off, it's just no good.
Exactly, because if they sell it this way and then next expansion they go, well, if we want to sell more of those skip cards, we should make the campaign more grindy. We'll make it 8 missions, but then in between each mission you'll have to do 10 strikes or 10 crucible matches, and they intentionally they are monetarily benefited from designing bloat into the campaign so that you'll be more likely to pay to skip it, right?
Well,
and so it leads to bad game design is my concern with it.
It was Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I think, because I remember Skill Up just was like, this game is too damn big. And it was the idea that I think there was a point where there was a massive like break in the story. You had to level up like 10 levels or something. And then I still remember he said there's some part on the south of the map that you have to be like level 90 or something that's like ridiculous. He's like, I'm never going to get down there. That's not happening. And it's like, just not going to see that part of the story. And that's kind of, as you said, but that game has a large open world with a whole bunch of stuff in one singular, as Mano said, tentpole release. This doesn't have that, but they're still trying to shovel these little things in there.
That's what they need.
In fairness, though, other MMOs do this.
Yes, it's true.
In fairness,
it's bad there too. It's bad there too.
I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying that it exists. My thing though is that we have to understand too, again, what the philosophy is. they understand that there's a lot of casual players that if they're going to run the multiple characters, I'm going to be brutally honest with y'all. This for me. This whole thing, I'm going to die on this. This for me, and Cog will be using. I'm going to tell you why. Because the average person does not have the time for the 3-character grind. I am sorry. I hate to break that to y'all. So the reality is they're going to sit there and say, you know what? My Hunter and my Titan, they going to get this $5 and they're going to get the Orb of Light. And they're going to be right with my main character right at the same time. So the metrics and the analytics show that this will be used, whether we like it or not. That is the corporate answer. And they have the metrics, the analytics that other MMOs do it. So for me, I understand from a principle standpoint, yes, it is getting slimy. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, poo-poo that, but I know I am the use case. They coming for me.
I also want to say, Cog, I think it's cute that you think it's going to $5.
Oh, whatever.
You sweet summer child.
It's gonna be that's gonna be at least $10 per character. What do you guys think the price is on it?
I think it's $20 a character.
I think it's
actually no what? I'm gonna say
I think it's 10. I think it's 10.
20 would be tough for my pocket.
It'd be 40 because it's 2 characters.
But reading from that tweet, I have some buddies who legitimately they have, because they don't want to do the power. They pretty much just do trials. Like they that's all they want to do is they just want to do trials. But I have actually helped them level up their characters in the past. And they're like, dude, I will 100% pay for it just because they don't have time.
I'm paying for that. I'm like, I'm not doing my other 2 characters. I'm not doing that campaign. And if they would have said, yo, you don't do the campaign at all, and here's $10 to skip. Like, all right, budget, you wilding right now. Like, you got to play the game.
Yeah, you got to play the first campaign. Yeah,
play the game, right? They coming for corporate Cog. I'm like, oh, that's it. Now I don't got to buy this little slimy Titan and Hunter. I ain't got to do all that again. Hell yeah, here you go, $10.
But
Give me the boost.
But this is like kind of the idea of where we are at as a video gamer generation. Is there are a lot of gamers. I mean, I'm, Cog and I are on probably the upper end. I think Mano, you're close. Travis is a little older, but it was like all of us are in the point where we have disposable income. Most of us. And the disposable income is something all the companies out there, whether it be your microtransactions with Fortnite and the other thing, whether it's a kid stealing the microtransaction skin in Fortnite, or it's the corporate person who's single who has money to blow, and they're like, I don't care about another $5. I want to log in on my Titan and just have Strand, period.
Or your Disney Plus subscription that went up by $3. And then we also, by the way, you'll have to do ESPN Premium, even though that was part of the deal,
Yeah, bro. And you know how I know this works? I got friends, right, that play NBA 2K every year.
Oh my
God. And this is the most monetized grind heavy.
Well, FIFA and Madden might be worse, but
a pair of different color shorts and jerseys at base level. Right? And every year these dudes pay $100 in VC just so their character could look good and then buy attributes so they could go into the competitive my player, my team. They do this every year. I'm like, yo, this is insane. Do you know how much money hand over fist these guys are making with this stuff?
And it encourages bad game design because every year they want to make more grindy so that they sell more copies in.
And 2K servers are the absolute worst. And they need to be taking that money that they're getting from that and improving the damn service. Because shout out to DJ, my man, he lost his save data today playing 2K. So my condolences.
Oh, I heard, Madden lost. I heard Madden lost like half a season for people. Like there was stuff like that.
Madden's the worst. Yeah, Madden's the worst. Yeah.
So, if some of those licenses could get to other people, that'd be. It's like, so yeah, I get what it's for, but as Travis has said, like, how many? We have talked about this. We were like literally, I think last week might have been one of the weeks we talked about it, and then I'm like, here's another option to pay money in the game, and I didn't want us to like finish the podcast on a sour note, but it's kind of where we're landing because that was the major last piece of the TWAB.
No. We forgot the biggest thing for me.
Cog is the type of guy who wants to skip it. I want to live in a world where he enjoys those 8 missions so much he has no problem playing them 2 other times. Because there are campaigns where I play it and I'm like, dude, I want to play through that again, including the Witch Queen.
Yeah.
Witch Queen was very playable. I wanted to play that a second time. I don't want them to make a campaign that has arbitrary barriers and stuff like that, and they go, it's just easier to skip the 10
just skip it and sort of. I got that positive. We forgetting the biggest thing though. We forget the biggest thing. I know we killing them today, but I want to give them their flowers. I told y'all, in my opinion, prior season of the Seth was the best season. The way they ended
the finale this
season
week
was God tier. This was what I'm talking about. And not only did they hit the emotional beats that I felt was needed, they set up, it was one of the best lead-ins to a season I've ever seen from them.
To expansion.
And then the thing that I really want to give them credit, and this is just for me, for a person that we've all been there from day one, the symbolic callback to D1, Traveler hovering over, and now we understand. And to me, it was like, yo, I'm not running. The threat's here. We're ready to go. And then the Rasputin moment, right? The Rasputin moment that they have in the humanity. It really, to me, I love the ending. I thought it was fantastic, and it was probably one of their best seasons to me as a package. And I want to give them their flowers. They really did that. That was the Halo poster, man. It was feel. Maybe I'm too tied in.
No, I mean I was the same. I was the same way.
Plan when this game was laughed at. But I'm like, yo, they did that, bro. Sorry, you're good.
I already ordered the display. Sorry, it just happened. So
yeah. The display's dope.
No, it's like Blackwing said the music.
Did they announce that? They're selling
it's if you finish it, then it's in Bungie rewards. Like, yeah.
If you go to the Bungie store and you go to the new things, as long as you have the finale done, it's a really cool display of like it's not like of the D1 picture. It's like the Traveler has like maybe come up to like the middle stratosphere, like just a little bit. But if you can flip it both ways, which is kind of cool, so you can kind of choose that. But like on that note, like that's the thing is like back to Travis, I don't care about Callus. I want to see what the heck happens with these pyramid ships because they've been out here. I that's maybe it's just me being impatient. But that's the reason why, like when you saw like he has no more place to run. Like, oh my god, here we go. I've been waiting 10 years for this, and boy, I hope it works.
Yeah.
So I think they nailed it too, Cog. I think they absolutely I remember watching it and just being like, oh my gosh, this is so good.
Yeah, I was just surprised to be fighting who we were in the mission. To have, her as part of the cutscene, and then Anna and Rasputin basically saying what, like, that had the emotional pull there. Then you had the Tower and Crow and Zavala and everybody sitting there watching the Traveler depart, and I was like, I'm sorry, it's moving now? Like, that was one of those, it's been in the Tower for 8 years. Like,
it's weird to go to the Tower now.
It's still in the, what is it, the Elixir Quarter, you can still see it, so they didn't quite update, they didn't update that sandbox. They didn't update that sandbox. So it's still there, if you want to go see it.
Traveler has a cloaking device.
Yeah. But, I mean, but yeah, I thought... But this is why. But I think this is why. I'm really enjoying anytime the Witness is around, because even at the end of the cutscene, it's like has nowhere else to go, and it's like the way they've managed to do the Witness. Somebody said it in chat. The Witness is weird. I get it. The Witness is weird looking, but every time I see the Witness,
love it.
It's
so different.
It's just recognizable enough to have like the eyes and the nose, where you're like, it kind of has a human-ish face, but the eyes are so big and dilated. It's weird. It's really tall because he's sitting there like floating through space and like walking through space debris. The head of smoky clouds, and I love like the suit, whatever it is he's wearing, that has like the little the darkness. Basically, he's wearing the darkness, but the fact that like it's almost like a little kind of like an Iron Man like nano armor, but all the little pieces move. I'm like, I just love what they did with it. It's close enough where you can kind of be like, it looks a little, but it's so much also not. And then they give it it's the calm serial killer kind of tone.
Yeah.
It's like the calm, collected, thoughtful villain, which is usually the scary one.
Well, the thing about it,
that's the one I'm looking forward to. Yeah, go ahead.
The thing about it that's so different, like if you think back to every enemy that we've ever had in Destiny, there's really only been 2 that we've ever been like, they've really made an impact. The first time I saw the Taken, in the Witch Queen trailer, and you see them being ripped, and they're like literally, it's so different. But if you think about all the other stuff, you've had Cabal, and then there's Fallen, and then there's like, it's all samey. The Witness is so different that I need to see more of his ilk and more like the Tormentors, because like And I am hoping that we get a lot of them, and again, Travis probably can't tell us, obviously,
Yes.
but I'm hoping we see more of them because that, like, we did not see enough of the Lucent Hive. The Lucent Hive were the first time I'm like, yo, this is like a Taken moment. So that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, and shout out to the trailer. I love them squeezing the life out of the Guardian. Like, I want that inherent fear. That's what the Lucent Hive kind of brought, where it was like, yo, we have to get this enemy type off the map or it's a problem kind of thing. So I think that's where we at. So the hype of how they ended it does make me excited. However, we may have to deal with the reality what Travis said, which is this may be this intermediate force thing, like almost like a season, right? And before the story truly advances to the moment everybody was. We want the witness. We want to feel like, oh my God, they're here. It's do or die. The next collapse could happen, and we're on our last leg, because that's what the trailer felt like. People were like, yo, even Ikora was shook, like, yo, is it leaving? Like it was that moment. Is it forsaking us? Like we're going to lose our light and it's going to move on. And the key point that I liked is what last thing I'll say is what the witness kind of said to kind of like influence Aramis. Like, remember, what they did, and then Aramis was great in that. Like, yo, we gonna make sure it never leave again. We gonna blow this thing out. Yeah. Like, it's a great the simul cut with Rasputin being taken offline with the button push. It was just great. I just loved it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a good place to gonna wrap up the episode. But for like just the way they wrap the season, if they can. The one thing I will say of the witness not happening right now, it's the only silver lining I'm going to give Lightfall, is because we get to spend more time building into the witness. I want to see the witness. I'm very excited to see that, but we got time to build into Savathun, and it made a difference. They're going to be out a lot longer, but we've had a tease of the witness since the Witch Queen. We've had like kind of the undertones of what the witness has been asking others to do. It asked Aramis to do things. It's asked Callus to do things. And then this past one, it was, now asking again. I get, but it's like it's been trying to play its chess pieces this time, and it is the true final king or queen on the chessboard, depending. And it is they. Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, that is a they. The witness is definitely a they, because there's multiple personalities going on up in that smokehead. But it's gonna give us time to build into that. And if we get like a season of the Lost, if we get a season of the Chosen, if we get a Splicer or a Seraph, if we get those type of seasons that go from now until final shape, that's where I'm going to thank them for the buildup. That's my only, I will say, silver lining as the delay. Because if Lightfall is likely as, if it's a 7, it's good, not great, but it's not quite there. But if final shape can be that 9, the first 9, if final shape can actually pull something
10.
It needs to be a 10.
I was trying to be realistic, okay?
No, I want a 10. I've invested 10 years. I want one number
one
for every one of my years.
I can't.
Yeah,
10 for 10.
Why aim for a 9? I think every player should be expecting a 10 every time they open Destiny. Because
I have this long in the franchise, I can't aim for a 10.
Yeah, I know. I get that.
But I think a 9 was fair.
Yeah.
We'll round up.
I also really liked this cutscene. It was better than anything I saw in the Lightfall preview. I mean, it was a great cutscene. My theory is, first of all, Cog, I agree with you, and I'm glad to hear someone on this panel, because I expected to be the only person on this panel who believed that the Traveler wasn't abandoning humanity. I think the Traveler's actions were being misinterpreted from the beginning.
I agree.
And I think a lot of people are weirdly just assuming that because the witness said that the reason was because they couldn't run anywhere, that was the actual reason, including Paul Tassi. This is something that I saw Paul Tassi tweet. Yeah, or he said an article or tweeted, I can't remember, but I read it, and he said that he finds the Traveler more sus than ever, and that he thinks that the only reason it didn't flee is because it couldn't. I think that's bullshit. I think the witness is just doing witness stuff.
Yeah, doing witness.
To
me, that was a show of, I'm not running. I'm here with you. I'm not hiding. I'm here. You know where I'm at. That kind of thing. But continue,
if you think about it, sorry, I'm just gonna. This is a thought that I had. is that this is the first time the Traveler's sticking at Earth and basically being dead, and then we are like somewhat responsible for its rejuvenation and like keeping it defended within the Ghost. It's the first time that's ever happened to the Traveler. So maybe the Traveler's always left, right? It's always left all the different places, whether it was Fundament or I forget the name of the planet where the Elixir were. Yeah, and I don't remember. But if you like in my mind, going off of what Travis said, is that maybe we finally developed a kinship with it, and it's like, dude, I'm gonna stand my ground instead of dipping. I got you.
In the ground. That's how I looked at it.
I'm hoping. That'd be cool. That would be a really cool way. Instead of it being sus, it's like, dude, I'm your shield. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this guy.
So I think that that's true, and I also think that in the campaign, I think the Witness is going to be a main part, but I think we're going to mostly interact with them through cutscenes. I think we're going to see them doing stuff, and we're going to be tied up with the Callus situation, and they are going to have their own plot line that sort of happens. That's just the impression I got, that it's going to happen kind of parallel to the events, but we're not going to be confronting them yet. We're just going to be seeing them get the chess pieces and probably deal blows to humanity and do some other shady stuff, but we're not going to see them. We're not actually going to fight them or confront them in any meaningful way. I think that's probably what's going to happen. And part of the reason I think that is because I think the reason that the final shape got delayed, I think a big part of it is because they have to introduce a new mob type into the
new race.
They have to introduce a new thing, and I think that the Tormentor was the one mob enemy that they were able to get through the gate in time.
That was ready.
I agree. I think the Tormentor was ready, and I think they have like 5 or 6 other enemies that are part of the Witness's
completely
mob
agree
that are coming down the road, and I think I'm excited for that. I'm upset that we don't get another year of fighting those things, because I think it would have been nice to introduce them now and then up the ante next year. But that's just the sense I get. So there's still hype building. I'm still excited to play the final shape. I'm just a dealt was blow a little bit to my excitement for this expansion, but I saw that cutscene after I saw all the other stuff from Lightfall, so because I saw that a couple weeks ago, so this was new to me, and this made me more excited for Destiny than any of the other stuff I saw. So I think it was a great cutscene. I'm super excited about what's going to happen in the future of Destiny. I don't know that we're going to get as much as we were expecting in Lightfall. I don't know if it's going to live up to its name, but hype, guys. And I think it was a great way to end, and a great way to tie up the big red guy saga that's been going on for almost 10 years. And
everybody pour one out for Red, because Anna got broke. It was nice to see Elsie there though for a nice moment.
Her not sister. Yeah, it's her Bizarro world sister.
Exactly.
So just to be clear, it's not hers is dead. It's a different version.
Different version.
Oh yeah.
Destiny's so weird.
No.
Well, Mano, it has been a blast. I know you didn't have a time sync, but we definitely kept you extra long tonight, so I hope we didn't overstep anything. But man, thank you for the time. Seriously,
it was a blast. I always enjoy talking Destiny, and like with these dapper gentlemen next to us, like can't go wrong, right? So thank you so much for having me, and definitely appreciate that solid intro, Ebontis. If I need to write my resume, what's your email?
You know where to find me. But at this point, as we get towards the end of the show, now's the time just to let everybody know where to find you, what to expect from you, content, streaming, places, Twitter. If you sell cookies on the side like Destin, whatever it is your world holds, like now's the time to tell everybody. So the floor is yours.
For Mano?
Yeah, you.
Okay, so
this is the Mano show now.
Well, no, it's not. No, you guys do great job, and I appreciate, like, more people should be watching this podcast. Like, it's one of the best ones. People, like, we really get into the weeds and like really dig into the stuff with Destiny. So definitely appreciate all that. I'm the ManoDestra on Twitter, not by choice. Same thing on YouTube, because the person who took ManoDestra took it and is like our one follower. So GG Twitter. And over on YouTube, ManoDestra777, because I'm not going to get rid of those numbers. And then over on Twitch, twitch.tv/ManoDestra. Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Absolutely, man. You know me, man. Appreciate you.
He's a good guy, worth the follow and everything. Because Mega Man 3. I mean, come on. What else do you need? What else do you need? That's all you need.
No, that you definitely besties with E off of that. Like, there's no doubt. You are solidified. You know, salute to you, man. I love your video. Actually, the ones that I really like is the ones where you like, yo, get this now. Oh man, I said I gotta hurry up because it's in the tower. Whatever it is, this is a great role. This is a cool thing. Love the video. Love the solo.
I appreciate
content.
that. I kind of
man.
stopped doing that just because I haven't had time, but I might start doing that in YouTube Shorts.
No, I
See
love
how that
it,
goes.
bro. You got to throw it in the shorts because at the end of the day, it's very informative for that day where, you know, like, yo, I need to log in today. At least just get this right here because Zur or whoever's got this weapon or this role, you know what I'm saying, or the or Banshee, you know what I mean, especially Banshee, like with the random stuff. So salute to you on that and the solo content and all that good stuff. And obviously,
Appreciate it, guys.
the informative takes, my man. No doubt.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's always a pleasure. It was nice meeting Travis because the last time I was here,
Yeah.
Travis. I
Wait,
think
so
he's
last
here.
time you were
Travis
here,
was not here.
We were Flashpoint the last time you were here. We weren't the last word. We were the last
It was
word,
one
but we
third-
just
yeah,
had
it was yeah,
Travis,
we were still
okay.
last word. Just Travis wasn't here.
I want to see if we can ever get a guest that was there during like the Flashpoint days that hasn't.
Scarrow was early.
Yeah, we've had one. Yeah.
Scarrow
Okay.
was really early. I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
He was early
Okay.
enough.
so I want somebody to introduce Travis for the first time.
Well, I know Travis can't talk about anything else, but you guys get
I can talk about some stuff.
what do you got? What do you got cooking? What's in the stove? Or what's in the stove? In the oven or on the stove, but not both.
Yeah. Well, there's some stuff you can see right now. There's a certain wizard game that I reviewed last week that you can still check out that review. It's done pretty well if you care about that stuff.
Sure.
I also published my first feature for IGN this week, which was a feature about live service games and why they're not dying despite reports to the contrary from people who don't know what they're talking about. And I'm going to try to write more of those because I think I had a lot of fun doing it.
That was a great article.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that you can read that. And then I've got IGN First coming out in March, so prepare for our announcement for what that game is.
Hold on,
Very
don't let
excited
them
for
gloss
that.
over there, y'all.
Yeah.
That is a flex. IGN
It is pretty big.
That's big.
Biggest things going. Everybody in the industry looks forward to an IGN First. That is huge,
It is,
brother.
for those who don't know, it's IGN's equivalent of like a cover story for a magazine, but for our digital outlet. So
That's like Game Informer's covers. Yeah, that's you guys are
Yeah.
pretty much right there. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
it's great. And then you can look for my review of Destiny 2 Lightfall coming in probably early March, if I had to guess.
Is the raid included in your review?
Yes, good question. Is the raid
I
included?
never score a Destiny until I've completed the raid. So.
Oh, this is comprehensive. This is okay.
I do a review in progress before the raid drops, and then I wait till I've beaten the raid, and then I slap a score on it. So, you can do that. And then also, if you want to watch me on Sundays, I talk about the games industry in general on a show called Bitcast. And that's it. Thanks, everybody. Mano, really nice to meet you. I wish I could have had you on Fireteam Chat back in the day. You're good.
Oh, yeah.
No, dude, that would have been a dream for this guy.
Hey,
Like
if we
hanging
do
out with
a
Destin or
reunion-
Alfredo.
if we do a reunion, you're on the short list right alongside Ebontis too.
You got to get on.
So yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was so happy to get on. I was proud. That was a bucket list moment for me. I was so proud. That's when I first met you.
If Destin ever plays Destiny for more than 5 minutes, we'll definitely hit you up for a reunion tour.
I was like, it's not going to be a minute. He just got number 2, so.
Woo!
Yeah.
More cookies to bake.
He refused to name him Travis Jr., which I took as a slight.
Well, you know.
Well, that's me. What are you up to, Ebontis?
No, I was going to say, Cog, you got to go.
Oh, Cog. Okay.
Yeah, that's same old. Again, shout out to Mano in the chat. Same old would be. Actually, a big week this Sunday. One of a bucket list that I've always wanted to have on ILP. We have Cliffy B, legendary Cliffy B, will make his debut. So we're gonna pick his brain, what he's going on. Obviously, you know, the Gears franchise, and I learned so much just researching him. Didn't realize he had a hand in Fortnite, and you know, we're gonna talk about the highs, the lows, where he's at now. I think he's got a book too. So Cliffy B with the Realm of Iron Law podcast this Sunday, and then the other scoop I gave you, which I gave earlier, which is we did do an interview with John Johannes from Tango Gameworks, the director of Hi-Fi Rush, which is one really popular right now. So we're going to try to debut that as well. And we got Defining Duke up there with Maddie Plays, a fun one, talking about all the industry and who's cannibalizing sales and all this Game Pass talk.
That had to be a fun one.
Nonsense. And oh my God, it's just... Yeah, people want to know about the business, so we got that going on, and yeah, man, that's pretty much it. E, what you got cooking? What 5 games you try to finish before Lightfall? Go.
5. Yeah, I want to play. Okay, I want to play Forsaken, Hi-Fi Rush. I want to play Hogwarts, Wild Heart, and Atomic Heart. I'm gonna play all of
You will
those.
love Hi-Fi Rush, bro. Mano, you will love Hi-Fi Rush.
Ah, I forgot to
Wild
talk
Hearts
about that.
today.
I played
Atomic
it.
Heart is.
I helped
next week.
Tom Marks review that game. I didn't review it, but I played with him while he was doing the
Yeah.
review. So I played a lot of that game. It's quite good. People should
I've
play
heard it's good outside of some performance bugs. Like if they can polish a little optimization, I've heard it's actually a very fun Monster Hunter, like fairly complete for like their first new IP. So it's like I would like to play that one. So, but I mean something like Hi-Fi Rush, I might be able to knock out in like you know a long day or something like that.
And the PC port is excellent.
I think that helps too. So, yeah. But for me, other than that, yeah, just trying to figure out what else comes for me. If you guys are watching the channel, any views are always appreciated, of course. But if you guys are here, you came from Mano, so please send Mano the love, follow him, like him, subscribe to him, drop all of the love his direction, and you guys know where we're gonna be. Except next week, I don't have co-hosts. I have no co-host next week. It is just me. So one of two things is gonna happen. Either I get a couple guests and we just chat it up. It's going to be a very light week, I think, in TWAB format world. So not entirely sure. It's a weird week to take a week off, but it's also going to be a very light news week. So I will kind of have to play that one by ear and see how it goes, depending on... I'll just call Mano again and be like, dude, you got like 30 minutes a week. You just got to knock something out.
What you got going on? What you got going on, Cog?
I got the LSM event in Houston.
Yeah, he's in Houston. And then you're traveling to unknown places.
You're gonna love it, Trav. I have to cut you, E. It's literally, I'm gonna be on stage, presentation, the most overrated game of all time. Oh, that's the topic.
Oh, what is? Do you guys have one?
Choice. I like my
overrated.
Most overrated game. Of all
most
time.
Overrated game.
What is something that's like really highly rated, but anybody?
I have one.
Okay, go. You might actually spark like a train of thought here because I'm trying to think.
The Last of Us.
Ooh, oh, you going for violence?
I have a terrible thing to say for someone who I gave a hard time for not seeing Lion King. I didn't ever play The Last of Us. Like I get the vibe. I need to do it. I didn't have PlayStation. I didn't have PlayStation, so I just got one. I know, but I'm watching the show, so that's good enough, right?
It's pretty actually. It's actually pretty accurate.
Fortnite. You said Fortnite. That's really good.
Fortnite's definitely.
I don't know if people. I don't know.
You
if
can't. No, you can't do that to
it.
Mario. That's not right.
I don't know if people praise it for the same reason. Like my problem with The Last of Us is it gets all the praise, but it's basically just like a Hollywood movie. It's a stealth game with bad stealth mechanics. You know what I mean? Like it's like as a game, I have problems with it, and people act like it's God's gift to gaming. So that's probably up there for me.
That's man. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, what's your one?
Oh God, like I don't even.
Oh, Black. Oh wow, he said Breath of the Wild.
I could just piss. I can piss off Cog with this one. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, you know what? Boo definitely boo to you, but there are some Sonics that are like, all right, fair. But there's some great Sonics.
No, I was literally just trying to think because I was Nintendo. I was like, what is Sega? And I'm like, I played a little Sonic here and there. Yeah, I was like, I'm a Nintendo guy. I don't know. Somebody said Breath of the Wild. See, you could see that one probably being like overrated.
Call of Duty and Fortnite are both
Call of Duty,
good answers.
Yeah. All right. Well, you guys think on that one. If you come up more, just let us know in chat next week. But thank you guys all very much. This one has been an absolute blast. And for this episode, it has been.
I can't see man.
The last word.
Last word.
Mano did disappear on us.